Hello, we are back. Hello, hello. I finally turned on. Hi. Yes, hello. We're back. We're back to more Kenzie. Here we go. Popcorn and soda in hand. Yes. Hello, welcome back. I am Melly. We are back to covering Mackenzie Shirilla. Before we do get started with the text message reading or whatnot, social media files, please make sure you hit the like button, you're subscribed, you turn on all your notifications. I go live pretty much all the time, so different times. Definitely make sure you are subscribed to the second channel. That link will be dropped in the chat, in the description. It is also in my bio description of my channel. And that is more like fun stuff over there. And also definitely keep your eye out for the Patreon coming out. So hello again, long time no see. I know. Thank you guys for who jumped from one live to the other. I appreciate it. It does also really help if you guys hit the like button. I know it gets annoying, but creators are always saying that, channels are always saying that, because it does really help push the content into the algorithm. And before I get started, per usual, we are covering Mackenzie Shirilla case, and we have a lot of fun covering that here. She's a clown. And all of these documents and files are through FOIA, so they are public information if you can get them. And at the end of the day, we are here just to expose what a net case she was. But if you happen to be a Kenzie fan, that's fine. All is welcome here as long as we remain respectful. Differing opinions are welcome as well. And, you know, our heart always goes out to the Russo family and the Flanagan family. So what are we doing today? We're going to get into Snapchat folder number 3. If you know, you know. And if you don't, please go to the playlist. There is a lot of Kenzie content of this. There's a lot of content on this case on there and Kenzie content. At the beginning of it, I get a lot of, let me fix this. I get a lot of shit for the audio not being so good in the first few lives. I covered the Kenzie case when I kind of just started my channel. So just bear with me. It gets better. It's a lot better. But we did go through 31,000 pages of text messages. They are in order in the playlist, so you can go and listen as you're doing things. It really helps also if you replay a lot of the lives that I have from previous cases and this case, and I have a lot. Some there's a playlist for. I'm trying not to miss anything, even if I only have one video on them, but I cover basically anything true crime. So thank you for being here. I'll shut the hell up. And I want to start today with the Instagram text message, or DMs, I guess, if you may. And this is public information. I'm going to say who the participant is, so basically who she's writing. And, you know, I don't really know the content of these, so let's hope that it's entertaining. And then we'll just do a little bit of these, and then we'll hop on over to the Snapchat files. So let me say hello to everyone. I saw Debbie in here. I saw Evie saying hello. Drakey, thank you, Drakey, for upgrading your membership to Stargazer. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I saw Becky. Hello, Becky. Welcome. I know you said you were new to the channel. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I saw hello, Tippy, per usual. I saw Evie. And thank you, Taz Mom, for gifting a membership. I need to go back and see who won that. My bad. Rassi 2, welcome to Mellyverse. Thank you for gifting. That's a great way to help support the channel. And it gives people access to all the lives that are not members. So thank you. This is just starting, right? We're just starting. Hey, Nancy, and hey, if you say so. And Cree, I saw Ironing here. Even and hello, DJ Trippy. Good to see you. Green Eyes. Hey, yay. Okay, and Robert. Good. Everyone's here. Oh, okay. I see. Hey, Just Jay. I know you said you wouldn't be in chat very much, but you're here. Thank you, Alicia. And I saw Ramon. Thank you. Love your coverage. You had me at scoop and bet. Yeah, I know. Kenzie only has like 5 fans. That's hilarious. If you know, you know. Okay, let's see. So These are some of the files from Instagram. These are DMs. And let's see, let's get started with, she's talking to Snow Bunny. And this is on March 23rd, 2022. Snow Bunny likes a message. Kenzie says, per fine ass bitch. And then Snow Bunny likes a message. Snow Bunny says, thank you, boo. Kenzie says, so hot. Snow Bunny responds with, thanks, babe. She likes the message. And then Snow Bunny says that was on the 9th, April 9th. And then on April 15th, 2022, Snow Bunny says, these remind me of you, LOL. And she sends an attachment, basically a picture of nails. Kenzie responds with, bitch, I want them. And then she says, I love you. And Snow Bunny says, haha, I knew it. Likes a message. Snow Bunny says, love you too, boo. You need to come to Cali. You belong here. By the way, this is meta information from the FOIA, and Snow Bunny, no. We do not want Kenzie in California. So please do not lie. This is her username too, by the way, Snow Bunny. I don't mean any disrespect or nothing. Kenzie says, me and my man are coming up there hopefully this summer. I'm about to meet all my hot Cali friends. My man. Like she even gave any respect to Dom. Author Snow Bunny says, yes, good. We're definitely gonna hang out. It's a must. Emoji. Kenzie says, so hot on April 18th to a picture post or whatever. Snow Bunny says, I love this. Likes the message. Kenzie says on the 19th at 11:54, I love you. Snow Bunny likes the message. On the 20th, her message of I love you. And then on the 27th, Snow Bunny says, yes, to Kenzie's Instagram story. And then Kenzie says, shit, I might have to. I love you. Snow Bunny on the 28th likes the message. And then on May 18th, 2022, Snow Bunny says, oh my God, I just got a Dior bag too. I'm in love. And sends a picture to Kenzie. Kenzie responds with, it's so effing cute. Which one did you get? Snow Bunny sends a picture of it. Kenzie said, stop. I want that one. Rolling my eyes because she's going to go ask Dom to buy it for her. Snow Bunny says on the 20th, I love it. I want another one and one like yours. So obsessed. She likes the message. And then later that day, Snow Bunny says, I need a few sugar daddies. Well, don't get mad at me, Snow Bunny. I'm just reading the information that's out there. Cochina. Oh, thank you, Alicia, for renewing your membership. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I need to fix my thing. Oh, okay, I see. Now we see. Green-eyed. Hey, girl. Kenzie says, right? I want a foot one. Okay. If you have something to say, say it now because we know about the foot stuff. We know about the foot stuff she was doing. The nasty foot stuff she was doing. So, yeah, a foot sugar daddy is what Kenzie's saying she wants. And yeah, dude, I don't know. You know, we do know. We do know. Ew. Yeah. So on the 21st, Snow Bunny says she sends an attachment. And then she says, report this account, please. Oh, so someone was trolling Snow Bunny. And then Kenzie said, just did. Snow Bunny said, thanks, babe. And then on June 3rd, 2022, Snow Bunny says, do you have any fave nail pages? Kenzie says, I follow some fire ones. If you just search nail on my following, you will find hella. Snow Bunny sends an attachment. And she says, okay, thank you. Then Snow Bunny on later that day says, this video reminded me of you. LOL. Kenzie says, stop. I have so many. Did you find a set? Snow Bunny says on the 4th, yes, I did. She sends a photo to Kenzie. Kenzie says, OMG, yes. And then on the 4th later a couple seconds later, Kenzie says, did you get it? Snow Bunny says, yes. And then it jumps to the 9th. Snow Bunny responds to one of Kenzie's stories on Instagram and says, LMAO, write my N-word. Why do these girls think they can just use racist terms like this? I don't understand. I didn't know they existed. They buy you stuff for messing with your feet. Here we go with a little nasty. Dude. Yeah, so Snow Bunny says, LMAO, write my N-word. Kenzie says, I wished I lived in Cali. Oh my gosh, I am so glad she did not come over here because not that I own like all of California, but we don't want her here. Kenzie says, we would be besties. Snow Bunny says, oh my God, we'd have so much fun. I swear to God. Kenzie says on the 13th, jealous. Snow Bunny says, I'm obsessed with them. LOL. Likes a message. Kenzie says, how much you pay? Snow Bunny says, girl, I got them from DH Gate. I'm not going to cap to you. LOL. They were like $120 or something like that. And they look exactly like the real shoe. Ah, so Snow Bunny's buying fake brand name shoes. Kenzie says, no effing way. Send me the link. Snow Bunny sends her the link. And there's a summary of the link. Comfortable men's designers tennis shoes, your best choice for designer mesh, woven lace shoes, styles 90. Okay, we don't care. Snow Bunny said to Kenzie on the 14th, send me the link to the Yeezy slides you got. I think that was you at least. LOL. Kenzie says, it got deleted, but I can find a link and send you one. I'll find you one when I'm home. I got you, bae. That was on the 15th. And then June 30th. Wait, June 30th? That was the day of the crash, right? Wow. Well, it was the day before, the 31st. So a day before the crash. Snow Bunny says, how the F did you get your background with the post? I can never figure it out. Kenzie says, I just make it. I add the pics myself. There's an add pic button. Snow Bunny says, I swear it never works for me when I try to share a post. LMAO. Kenzie said, let me screen record. I'll try to show you. And then Snow Bunny says, see? LMAO. Sends her a video. Shit doesn't work for me. Kenzie says, you got to use multiple pics. Snow Bunny says, I'll try. LOL. Oh, that was on the 1st. So Kenzie's on Instagram from the hospital? Because now it's on the 1st. Oh, I'm thinking July. Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I was like, wait, I was tripping. Now we're going into July. I don't know why I spaced that. Crash was a month later. You're right. I was spacing my dates. Fakes, all fakes. The shoes and the purse. Yeah. Okay, so Kenzie says, you're right. The crash was on July 31st, 2022. Kenzie says, I'll try. Or no, Snow Bunny says, I'll try. LOL. Kenzie says, period. Okay, now we move to September 22nd. Oh, wait, no, August 24th. Interesting how it jumps the dates. I don't know. These are just the way that I got them. I thought maybe they'd be in some kind of order, but who cares, I guess. August 24th, 2022. Now that's after the accident. Kenzie says to Abby. She says on 8/24/2022, she says, "Hey, I know we didn't talk much, and I completely understand if you hate me. I hate myself too. I just wanted to apologize to you because I know you guys were close. I hope you don't think this was my fault. I never did this on purpose. I wish he was here every single day. He should be here. It should have been me. I don't want sympathy, but I just wanted to apologize." Here is her true colors. Hey, Proving Carlina. I know, I'm sorry, I got the date wrong, but we fixed it. Abby is my cousin, Dom's cousin too. Oh boy. Yeah, Evie. I thought she didn't remember. Like, why is Kenzie such a skanky liar? I don't understand. She's I'm not trying to be mean, but wow. It should have been me. It should have been me. Okay, but you did that on purpose. Kenzie says, that was okay. So then she says, "I also wanted to let you know I was completely sober. I know there's been fucked up rumors. I don't know if you heard them, but they're all effing not true. And they're all just making me look like bad, like so bad. Like I would hurt my baby on purpose. I never would. I would have sacrificed myself in a heartbeat for a minute. Oh, wait, in a heartbeat for him." Hmm. So bad, like I would hurt my baby on purpose. I never would. I would have sacrificed myself in a heartbeat for him. Beautiful Broken says, "I know I wasn't paying attention. Makilla shocks me." I know. Abby responds and says, "How fast were you going? I would really love to know the details. I don't know if you're allowed to share that info or no, but I would appreciate if you could share some detail. There is no justification to be going 90 miles per hour if that is even correct speed. Also, something that doesn't sit right with me is that you were sharing irrelevant things right when it happened. Reposting and liking things is a bit weird to me. You haven't posted anything about Davion, and you're just now starting to post stuff about Dom. And I'm not here to bash you, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Thank you for the apology. None of this will ever feel real, and I can't believe this has happened." Wow. Yeah, I am assuming, like I read in the chat, that Abby is Dom's cousin. Hmm. Interesting. I was looking something up. She was posting stuff when it happened. I've never seen such an evil girl like Makilla. Kenzie says, "If you want, you can call me. I don't know if you can hear my voice, though. I will try to make you feel better about it and be honest. I don't really remember the accident. Some reason, all I remember is turning the street and then my vision goes dark." They said Dom's cousin took her to the concert. Interesting. She's a good person, unlike Kenzie, so of course she's going to believe her. Kenzie says, "And it's really weird because I drive that street like almost every single day, and I have never once went that fast on the street. I can't say exactly how fast I was going, but it's not what the Life 360 says." Okay, Kenzie, it is what the 360 says because you do speed, because we have gone through all of your videos that are in the file labeled by police and law enforcement. labeled reckless driving. And you would speed. You were speeding in the Snapchats we saw last night while you were taking selfies. So Kenzie is a damn liar, which we already know that. Then she says, I really don't have any pictures of Davion, but I've been texting his family. And Dom is honestly affecting me a lot more because I was with him every single day for 4 years straight. He was my best friend and my soulmate. He was your best friend and your soulmate, but you treated him like shit. Oh, okay. So Life 360's line. Yeah, right. It's not funny. Not ever once since the crash has she blacked out again. It's as fast as the footage shows. Hey, Q. I know. Abby says, I know you and Dom that road. I know you and Dom know that road like the back of your hand. I can't call you right now. I'm in the car and then I have to go to work. A lot of it just doesn't seem right. Kenzie says, and you're allowed to be mad. I get it. I'm mad at myself too. Are you though, Kenzie? Because like in that footage in the hospital where you're like taking selfies, pictures of your cast, and like your little balloons, like you don't seem like you're very mad at yourself. Abby says, I completely understand, but you can post his GoFundMe. Oh, so she wasn't posting the GoFundMe. And thank you, Alicia, for the Cash App. I appreciate you, love, very much so. You're a great supporter of the channel. Thank you very much. And yeah, the Cash App is linked down below too. If you guys want to help donate, I always do use it for like FOIAs and stuff. And I'm working on a few of those. Trying to get a modeling job sitting in the hospital. I hate her so much. Exactly. Abby says, yeah, I completely understand, but you can post his GoFundMe. Kenzie says, I'm not allowed to post anything. My mom is not letting me. Wait. Your mom is not letting you, but we saw the post to the modeling agency. What kind of liars? Who do they think we are? Who do they think we are? We are not being fooled here, you guys. We know the real truth. We have gone through a lot of text messages. No one can tell us any different here at this channel because we, for a fact, saw everything in those text messages. And I don't need to know if Kenzie was nice to cats and dogs. That doesn't change my opinion of how she was treating Dom verbally, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and also how she treated others. It wasn't like she was just mean to Dom. I think Kenzie had a lot of growing up to do and a lot of maturing to do. And yeah, my mom is not letting me post anything. Kenzie says, I just have Dom's link in my bio. Abby says, have you reached out to my Uncle Frank at all? Ah, okay. So Abby is the cousin of Dom. Got it. I think Becky said in the chat that was a cousin as well. So thank you for that, Becky. Becky says, the Shirillas were sharing their own GoFundMe for Mackenzie, but it got banned after she was arrested. Interesting. Thank you for that, Becky. I bet Natalie came up with this passed out lie. Remember, Natalie has always told her, ugh, don't get me started on Natalie. Abby says, have you reached out to my Uncle Frank at all? Kenzie says, I just still feel like he's going to walk in the door and just come see me. It's so weird. It hurts so bad. Kenzie says, yeah, he didn't answer me. She says, I've been talking to Miss Russo, though. Abby says, what did you say? This is so effed up. Kenzie says, I'll send a screenshot. Angelo also ignored me. Abby says, that guy is so crushed. He will never be the same. Any of them. Ugh, my heart just broke right now. Because you know we love Miss Russo here so much. And whatever people say, I guess, about that situation, like that's really sad. And Ramon says the surveillance footage says it all. She was aware of what she was doing. She didn't think about it, that people would find out all about this, says Ruth. Green-eyed says, Ruth, exactly. And I'm so glad Melly is covering it. It is so sad. Yeah, that sucks. Kenzie says, yeah, when I went to his grave, I read what his dad wrote, and that effing killed me. I have so much to say. I think about all the text messages as we're reading these, and I'm like, really? That killed you because you were always acting like a psychopath when you would hang out with Dom and Miss Russo, and you would give him a hard time. So, I don't know. I guess we just know too much at this point. By the time we get to these, I'm glad we actually started with the text messages and not with this. So Kenzie says, Dom and his dad were just getting close. Abby says, it's understandable they ignored you, but I don't know one of it makes sense to me at all. Kenzie says, I'm trying as hard as possible to just not make this about me. I don't even care about any of my injuries. My broken heart is the worst part of this all, and I feel so bad for his family. Abby says, there's nothing on the road, nothing on the grass. I don't understand. We're gonna agree with Abby here. Absolutely. Abby wants answers. The text messages are so telling and dark as hell. Mallory says, I feel sick. I know Mallory does not like Kenzie at all. I'm boiling over with anger. I know. Jakey says, my heart breaks for Miss Russo from another mom. She was dealing with so much. I feel for her. I know. Kenzie says, we love Miss Russo. Kenzie says, it doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, I just can't believe this happened with my mom. My mom told me in the hospital. I was literally in shock, and it killed me that I couldn't go to the funeral. But I don't know if I could have seen him like that or seen his family like that. Abby says, did you break all limbs? And I don't really think you would have wanted to see him like that. Just saying. I was going to the memorial every day too, but my boyfriend I usually go with works, so I haven't been in a minute. Unfortunately, I need to go to his grave. What did his dad write? I saw a pic of the grave with everything, but I couldn't read it. Kenzie replies, God, I broke my thigh bone, my knee on my right leg. I lacerated my knee down to the joint on my left leg. I lacerated my kidney and liver. I was bleeding internally. I broke 3 of my ribs. I broke my entire arm, and I had to rebuild my joints. I broke my C1 vertebrae in my neck, and I had to get 4 surgeries. I don't know how I'm alive. Yeah, I don't know either how you're alive, Mr. Bean, because you're like 1 pound. Are these after the concert? These are, yes, these are 8/24. No. What day was the concert? I would have to look that up. I don't remember exactly, but definitely after the crash. She's right. You never get past it. She shows no accountability. She's like walking dark cloud Makilla. What bullshit, says Alicia. She's so selfish. I know. We're all so mad here. Hey, Sherry. I think I saw Sherry pop in here. I didn't want to ignore Sherry. Did I see Sherry? Yeah, Sherry. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you, love. Q says, when you think of Davion's family, what he and his sisters went through to have this happen, she ruined so many people's life. I know. And then she says, why don't I feel bad for you? I don't. No, I'm saying this to the messages. I don't feel bad for Kenzie after saying she heard all of this. It's not like I wish her death or anything, but I don't feel bad for you because at least you're alive and Dom and Davion aren't. And so I don't want to hear your bitching. Anyways, she says, I feel like Dom doesn't like his grave. I don't think he would have wanted to be put there. I feel his energy more at the memorial. He also has been visiting me in my dreams. Okay. Excuse me? Who is she to decide that he doesn't like his grave? She's so disgusting. He has been visiting in my dreams. Yeah, he's probably asking why you did what you did after him being so good to you. Ugh. These are a lot darker than I thought. Sorry, guys. I had not reviewed these before, but I'm really damn glad we came across them. today. She says, it's really long what his dad wrote. I might have a picture, but I don't know if you will be able to read it. Abby says, why don't you think he likes his grave? Question mark, question mark. Kenzie says, Dom was a spiritual guy. I feel like he would have wanted to be not in Strongsville or cremated or put into a diamond or a tree. I don't know. I just feel the vibes. It's weird. Abby says, his mom wanted him there by his grandpa he's never met. My Uncle Frank wanted him next to my brother, Uncle Frank's dad, and my Uncle Frank's brother. Oh, wow. Abby says, I understand that. Kenzie says, are they all there? Kenzie says, I didn't know that. Abby says, Holy Cross would have been the best spot for him. They're all at Holy Cross. So unfortunately, my uncle didn't get what he wanted. Kenzie sends emojis, and then she says, this is an effing tragedy. I'm trying so hard to make this feel normal. I've been writing to him every single day, but the text messages already turned green. I've been putting his favorite snacks at the memorial too. Abby says, I thought about doing that, but I don't know his favorite snacks. LOL. Kenzie says, I can tell you all of them. Abby says, please. Kenzie says, I'll send pics. I don't even like the snacks he liked, but now that's all I eat. Dom used to make me dinner every single night, and I've been having a hard time eating because everything makes me think of him and hurts. But I've been making food, and somehow I just made pesto just like he did. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Christine Russo was Dom's favorite person. Dom loved Miss Russo, and we were all here for it. She's a psychic now. It's gross, says Green9. She is crazy. I know. I know he loved her so much and he knew she was stressed, but I don't think he told her the bad stuff. Oh, told Miss Russo the bad stuff? Let me get a drink. Yeah, I don't think Dom wanted to stress Miss Russo out. Dom really loved her, and we couldn't tell that through all the text messages that we read. 31,000 pages of text messages. Kenzie says, I feel him with me every single day. Abby says, I know you're crushed, but for my family, this is literally the worst thing to ever happen. It's insane. I was in absolute shock. I know exactly how I found out. I was sleeping at my boyfriend's and my brother texted me and Dom Russo passed away and I woke up Anthony and I ran upstairs and started bawling. Abby likes a message and likes another message. She says, Anthony knew Dom because he bought bud off him like 2 weeks before. I keep seeing black Cadillacs everywhere. One time I was focusing too hard to find one and it was a black Lincoln and it kind of looked like his car and it wasn't. And then like 2 seconds later, I saw a black Cadillac that looked just like his, definitely a sign. Kenzie says, I seriously can't even imagine the feeling of you guys losing family. He was my soulmate. We had our kids' names planned out. We were going to live and now I just get to be back at home, not being able to walk, and I get to wake up alone and not see my little baby smile. I thought I was the only one that was literally killing myself over the black Cadillacs. Abby says, bruh, I'm telling you everywhere I go. Kenzie says, I hate seeing them now. I pass his house every single day. I just see his car in the driveway and it kills me. That's literally like a trigger now. I totally understand that because that was just him. Kenzie says, God, Abby, I am so effing sorry. She sends a photo to her. And then Kenzie says, he loved those. Abby says, oh, really? I know exactly what those are. I eat them. Abby likes the message. Kenzie says, he loved pears. Kenzie says, no way. And she sends another photo. Then Kenzie says, yeah, you can just tell him a little bit when you eat them. You can just feel him a little bit when you eat them. Abby says, yeah, but the Cadillac thing, it just like crushes me every single time, but it lets me know he's with me. So I guess it's not so bad after all. Abby likes the messages. Kenzie says, next time I go to Whole Foods, I'll show you some more stuff. Abby says, okay, perfect. Kenzie says, sends a photo. And then Kenzie says, I was bawling my eyes out at Whole Foods because this is where we used to shop And when I left there was a rainbow right over. And if you look where the rainbow would have ended, it touched the ground. It's literally on me. Abby says, that's beautiful. She likes the message. Kenzie said, he just keeps giving me signs and it's kind of making it easier, but I also cry because he's not here. Abby says, I understand that. Abby likes the message and then sends a photo to Kenzie. Kenzie says, OMG, with a bunch of emojis. She says, he's been making my sky effing beautiful the last few weeks. Abby says, absolutely. Kenzie says, I've just been trying to go places that remind me of him so I can just feel him. Abby says, we've smoked a lot of backwoods for him. She likes the message. Kenzie says, I'm not allowed to smoke right now. I'm going to learn how to roll fat backwards for him when I am healed. Something else crazy, I have flour from his funeral and it's literally still alive. Abby says, yeah, Anthony was trying to perfect it and he's got a lot better. She says, oh, really? Kenzie sends an attachment, which is a photo. And she says, thank you for talking to me and not hating me. Kenzie says, his family is all I got. I've been wearing his clothes too. I have so many. Abby says, well, at first I wanted nothing to do with you. Kenzie says, yeah, I get it. Abby says, like, I can't believe he's gone. And then she says, 𝗕𝗏𝗔𝗗? I don't know what that means. Maybe that's a typo. And then she said, Kenzie says, I would never hurt my baby Nug on purpose. If I knew any of this was going to happen, I would have sacrificed myself. I wish I was dead every single day and it was me, but he would want me alive and happy, just like I would want him alive and happy. I'm screaming as I'm reading this because I know you guys are too. Like, what? You wanted him happy, but you were so mean and evil to him. A demon. Literally. She would blackmail him, threaten him, get physical with him, degrade him. She treated him like absolute trash. Let me catch up with your guys' comments. I know he loved her so much. Yeah, so many lies. Kenzie lies about everything. My opinion, God left clues. Green-eyed Elijah says she's a demon. Green-eyed says very heartbreaking. I saw Miss Russo's video. Yeah. Improving your role skills. That makes up for it. Oh, 𝗕𝗏𝗔𝗗 is his nickname. Thank you, Becky. 𝗕𝗏𝗔𝗗 is his nickname. Oh, that's cute. Oh. That's a damn lie. She hurt him. I know. If you say so, said she has criminal mind. She belongs where she is. She's with her people. We called him Little Nooch, Dominic. Oh, that's cute. Evie says she's full of lies. Selfish. I know. Abby says, I grew up with him, but I'd say the last 5 years he did how own things and make a great life for himself, but I wish I could have saw him more while we were older. My heart goes out to Abby too, because these are sad. You know, she's reminiscing on lost time with Dom, and that's really sad. Kenzie says, he's always talked highly of you. He loves you. I know you know that though. Kenzie said, Dom always told me he was an alien. He vibrated higher than all of us. He just knew what he was doing in life. Abby says, did he really? Kenzie said, OMG, yes. Of course he did. Abby likes the messages. And then she says, he did check up on me without me even being that aware of it. I feel like he didn't talk to like any of us, but he would text me on Snapchat about random shit. I miss that so bad. We smoked a backwood with him like 2 years ago at the beach with Ryan. That was a really good day. Kenzie says, I remember that. I don't know what I was doing that day, but I remember him being excited about that. He was protective over you. Maybe he will visit you in your dreams. It felt so good to see him. Kenzie says, Ryan followed me on Insta. I don't know if I should reach out to him. Abby likes the messages. And she says, I hope he sees me in my dreams and I hope he's an alien. LMAO. Ryan, I don't know. He is quite sensitive, but he doesn't show a lot of emotion. But I don't know how he would feel about that, just being honest. Kenzie says, yeah, I don't know him that well. I know you a little bit more than him. That's why I texted you. Abby says, yeah, that's understandable. Kenzie says, maybe you can talk to him about it because I will answer anything to make him feel better. Dom is definitely an alien. He's just on a different level. I will always say that. And that's why he's traveling so fast. Kenzie said, he's sad, but he wants all of us to be strong, even though it's going to be hard. I still cry every day, and I'm sure you do too. Abby likes the message, and she says, I'll talk to him after work. She likes another message, and then she says, I know he wants none of us sad. I cry every day as well. It's been super hard. I wanted to die that week so bad. I didn't know how to handle it, and you think I would have been able to handle it better. I lost my brother. Abby likes the message. Kenzie says, you shouldn't want to die. You have nothing to do with this. Abby says, I miss him so much. My heart hurts so bad. Kenzie says, I didn't know you lost your brother. I'm so sorry. Abby said, it's so broken. It's okay. Thank you. Kenzie says, if you ever want to see videos of him being really happy, I have a lot of videos. It makes me really sad and makes me miss him more, but the videos sometimes help. Abby says, I'm in the car crying, and I just saw a Cadillac by the mall drive past. Insane. She likes a message, and then Kenzie sends emojis. Abby says, you can send them all. And she likes her messages. And then Kenzie says, here's some good ones. And then Abby says another. Abby sends an attachment, and then Kenzie sends a video. Abby says, I was too slow to take a pic of the other. Kenzie sends another video and another video. And Abby says, what year was his car? And I'll watch. Hang on. Kenzie says, yeah, I don't think I could ever drive again. Seeing Cadillacs kills me. I think it was 2016. And then Kenzie sends another video and another video. And Abby says, really? I feel like it looks newer, but you're probably right. She says, I love them all. Kenzie says, he kept it nice. His backlight was effed up because he hit a mailbox. I have some other video, but they're on my Snapchat. I have to say that I literally have hundreds. I'm so glad I took all the videos that I did. Abby says, he told me about how he had your dress customized, and he sent me the video of you guys at prom. Abby's brother was Anthony. He passed away in 2016 in another accident. Oh, I'm sorry, Becky. Hearing the whole relationship like we did, he had so much patience. I think he really wanted to help her be a better person. Yeah, we spent all our summers together, but when we got older, we did all of our own thing and grew apart. Yeah, that's really shitty. And I'm just annoyed because, yeah, Dom paid for her to have her dress customized, and she was just so ungrateful. You know what I mean? That's one thing that really bugs me. How good Dom was to her. And she was just so ungrateful. Let's continue. Kenzie says, yeah, he paid for half of my dress. It was so expensive. Everybody hates me at school today. So he hates me at school today. So he got me a party bus just for me and him. Yeah, everybody hates you at school. Wonder why. How you treated everybody. Kenzie says, he had so much fun on the bus. He always made me feel so special. Abby said, and his suit. Abby sends a video. Abby says, he was wearing it in his casket. Abby likes the message. Kenzie says, yeah, it hurts because anytime I see a video of him, I just think that's what he was buried in. Abby says, yeah, for real. Kenzie said, he looks so good in that suit. Abby said, he gave me his whole hair care routine. Absolutely. Abby likes the message. Kenzie says, the prom videos are my favorite. He was so happy. Abby says, yes. Kenzie said, everybody told us we look like movie stars that night. And then Kenzie sends a photo. Abby says, you guys definitely made a statement. His hair, nothing like I have seen before, ever. Kenzie says, I wish I had a strand of it so I could just look at it every day, but I know that's weird, but I want it. I loved his hair so much. He used to never let me touch it, but then he gave up. Abby says, no, I completely get that. Kenzie says, life is just so different without him. Abby says, Anthony was planning to get me a necklace with a piece of his weed in it. Abby says, he still has some saved of Dom's bud. Abby likes the message. She says, I miss the F out of him. I wish I talked to him more recently. I feel bad. Kenzie says, I bought a necklace. It's a silver chain and it says Nug. It's being made right now. Abby says, but I'm glad we still talked when we did. Oh, that's cute. Kenzie says, I have some bud too. I used to save every Nug. That was fire in a jar. So I have all the best saved in a jar. I haven't opened or seen it in so long. Abby says, what they doing with his stuff? Kenzie says, God, I don't even know. Abby says, aw. Kenzie says, I want some of his clothes. Abby says, so do I. Kenzie said, Miss Russo can't go in his house. Abby says, just a shirt or something. Kenzie said, my purse is still in there. Abby says, like, because she's so distraught, or can she actually not go in there, like she's not allowed? Kenzie said, yeah, she tells me she has panic attacks every single day. Dom's best friend has been going there every night to be there for her. She's not ready to see me yet. Abby says, Kyle. Kenzie says, she can only go in there, but she can't do it physically. She told me she only went in there to get his suit. Kenzie says, no. Kyle flake AF. Blair is his best friend. Kyle has been there, though. Abby says, really? I thought he was there, too. Ah, okay. Blair, yeah, I met his sister. Kenzie says, yeah, Kyle was never really there for Dom. Abby says, really? Kenzie said, he stopped being cool when he started dating his girl. I felt so bad. Abby says, Anthony and I went to go smoke with him in Anthony's car with his girlfriend, and I saw a cop. They just dipped. It was weird. Abby says, but I'm not here to talk shit or anything. Kenzie says, Blair might come see me, though. Yeah, she's weird. She told Dom I post like a whore, and he should post his print on his snap story, so me and her are not cool. Well, yeah, I can't blame her because you did post very provocative pictures and you were doing weird feet stuff. Not a fan of Natalie in here. No, absolutely not. While she's worried about that purse. Yeah, you know how annoying she was, like, oh, I want my stuff. I'm like, it actually truly doesn't belong to you because Dom paid for all of it. Like, what do you mean you want all your stuff? Repulsive. I know. We're repulsed right now. Kenzie says, that hurt because we were close. Abby says, that's weird, AF. Kenzie says, yeah, I can't wait for this to just be normal. I mean, it's never going to be normal, but I just want to go see Miss Russo so bad. Listen, we know how you harassed Miss Russo, and I'm so annoyed that she's acting like, oh, I want to go in there and get my stuff. That's all I have. When she was so mean about anything related to his family when he wanted to see his family. Abby says, has she said anything to you? Kenzie says, yeah, I talk to her every single day. Abby says, how has she been with you? Kenzie said, it makes me feel a little bit better that she doesn't hate me. Kenzie says, I don't know, she's kind of short, but she's telling me that she's really sad, but she asks how I'm doing and stuff. Abby says, yeah, understandable. This is so hard. Kenzie says, have you been over there? Abby says, no, I have not. Kenzie said, she just texted me right now. Abby says, oh, really? Kenzie says, I've been trying to go to Dom's house because I just want to lay in his bed. I have a bag of his old clothes and they all still smell like him. So I put them in a garbage bag so it will preserve the smell. Abby says, you think she would let you? Abby says, that's a smart idea. Kenzie says, I don't know. She doesn't even have to see me if she doesn't want. I just want to go in his house. I'm so glad Miss Russo didn't let her in. I'm pretty sure nobody wanted it to be anywhere where Kenzie was. Yeah. She only wanted to get in that house. She really wanted to get in that house. I'm curious why. To get the money, get the weed. Abby says, yeah, I know. I do too. It sounds so weird though, but that's him. Kenzie says, yeah, we used to have so much fun in that house. Abby says, like everything in there is because of him, or it's because it's what he liked. Like, I want to see that. Kenzie said, life was starting. Abby says, his sister used to live in there, but I've been in that house before, but not while it was Dom's. Kenzie says, yeah, it's a lot different now. He painted the back room literally neon orange. Abby says, yes, definitely. She says, aw. Kenzie says, I don't know why he did that, LOL. But now I want my room that color. He had a cute little studio in there too. Abby says, you can definitely get the same color. Kenzie says, have you heard his music? Abby said, I've seen his videos. I have. Kenzie said, it's on Apple Music. Abby says, I just can't ever find them. I've tried. Is his account private? Kenzie says, I have a couple of unreleased songs that he's texted me too. I'll send a link. It's called Drink and Zaza. Abby says, oh, okay. Kenzie says, I used to be baby Kush. Now I'm 𝗲𝗲𝗪 because he's 𝗲𝗲𝗪. Ah, that's where she gets that from. Remember when we were looking at all her Instagram? We were like, why does she call herself Dime Girl? Like, why? But then we're like, oh, that's Dom's nickname. And she is so dumb. Baby Kush. Kenzie, get over yourself, dude. Kenzie sends an attachment. Abby says, bruh, Christopher's his brother is in 𝗲𝗲𝗪 apparently, and he made me get it. Like, I'm like, okay. There's a typo there. Kenzie says, you're going to cry when you listen to it. Abby says, why do I feel like I've heard it? Kenzie says, they played it at the memorial. Kenzie says, Abby says, I think they played it at his memorial. Yes. Kenzie says, my friend Rosie told him to put it on. Kenzie said, his other songs are good, so I might start rapping because he sent me unreleased songs and I want to go on them with him. Kenzie says she wants to start rapping. By the way, she doesn't know how to spell because she's a dumbass. But no, Kenzie, you weren't gonna be a Skims model and then a rapper. Shake my head. Oh, Dime Hell. Oh, Dime Girl stands for Ohio Dime Girl. Oh, okay. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. Thank you. That clarifies it. Probably Dom's stash of money. I'm so glad she didn't get to go in there. I don't even, why would she even want to take his weed and stuff? Like, that's not yours, Kenzie. Oh my gosh. She's manipulating Abby. It's the other way around. Abby's trying to keep Mackenzie talking. Yeah, we know how Kenzie is, Becky. We don't have to know her personally, but we read 31,000 pages of her text messages with Dom. And I think we learned what we need to learn. Abby says, yeah, I've met her. A lot of people think the situation looks bad. The road is on the grass. I don't understand it. You can be honest with me. See, Abby's like trying to find out. Yeah, exactly what Becky said. Rapping? Okay, I'll have to, I don't know if I play it, if I would get copyrighted because it's on Apple Music, but I would love to listen to that. Maybe we can do that on a Melly After Dark. But that's going to be members only. So I guess get a membership. We need stickers to replace. Okay, thank you. Oh, Patty's like, yeah, we're done with the buzz balls. Replace them. I went through sell any of Makila's. Yeah, I know. Mackenzie has not to contact us. I'm too distant of a relative, but she probably doesn't even know I exist. Abby says, you can be honest with me. I promise you. Kenzie says, what do you mean the road and the grass? Abby says, hold on. Kenzie says, I will be honest with you with everything. I'm trying to give the family closure. It makes it hard because I don't remember driving on the street, but for some reason, the therapist told me people block out traumatic stuff because my brain couldn't process, but I just wish it did. There might be cameras that caught it though, which would make me feel so much better. Yeah, we know that you didn't push on the brake and we know that you were pushing on the gas. She would turn any situation around. Oh, here it is, the lie to cover it up. Then Kenzie says, and something else that's bothering me is I feel like the cops don't give a single F about this. No, because they know you're a murderer. Abby says, sorry, Anthony just called. I wanted to make sure he was up for work. But when I went there, I was told there would have been 15 feet of black marks on the road and there was like nothing in the grass. Looks perfectly fine, honestly. I just don't understand how you don't have the tree or the rocks. I don't understand. You hit the sign on the building. It just doesn't make sense to me. How you didn't hit, I think she meant hit the tree or the rocks. I understand you hit the sign in the building. Abby says, really don't think they care. Oh, really? You don't think they care? And Kenzie says, yeah, they asked my friend Paul some weird effing questions. Abby says, I feel like they do. I don't think my family has heard much from the cops, but I feel like they're trying to get to the bottom of it. And then Abby says, really? Kenzie says, yeah, they're not really asking normal questions. It just doesn't make sense. So that's when they were already starting to, oh, I'm sorry, investigate, everything. Because it took them a while to get through all of this, the police. Hey, Dova, good to see you. I wonder how many bags of clothes. She had purses he had bought her in his room. Hello, Don bought her like everything. I think I remember like um Natalie Shirilla buying like helping with like a few things where like, oh, my mom paid for half of it or something. Like Dom basically paid for everything. Becky says the sign on the building were both on Dom's side. The sign and the building were both on Dom's side. The tree would have been on Mackenzie's sign. She's saying she veered to the left on purpose. Mm, yeah. Yeah, sure, Ken's. Avoid the comments. Kenzie says, it just doesn't make sense. Abby says, I just know you and Dom know that road. It's so weird. Abby says, I just texted in blue heart, just showed up, and I did not put that there, swear to God. So I think that's a typo. Kenzie says, I do the same thing. Kenzie says, I already knew. Kenzie said, you're allowed to put a heart. He's family. Abby says, what's his favorite color? Even if it's not blue, that's still weird because I don't have him in my song is done with the blue heart. That's effing weird. Kenzie says, he loved maroon. Abby says, yeah, but I didn't put that heart. I just started talking and the heart just showed up. I think it's him. Abby likes the message. Kenzie said, he's with you. He's with all of us. My friend has been doing readings and kind of talking to him a little bit, not physically, but through tarot. Kenzie says, none of this information about the crash makes any sense. That's why I'm praying for the cameras work, and none of the cameras work. I will literally freak out. Well, the cameras worked all right. And according to law enforcement, you did this intentionally. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the police department for going so hard on this. They wanted her to pay for it. Yeah, because I don't believe she got arrested until October, right? So she had a few months, I think. What was the actual arrest date? I should know this because we're like professionals here on Kenzie now. Yeah, she was arrested. Actually, what is the arrest date? I thought it was like after Halloween or no? Or maybe it was in November. I can't remember. We'll go back to that. Kenzie says, and another weird thing is Life 360 is supposed to have crash detection and call the police if there is a crash, and so is my car. Abby says, yeah, we talked to some of our loved ones on the pendulum. I really want to do that and talk to Dominic because I feel like in that shit, some wicked things have happened. I don't believe in that, but some weird things like happened that my brother knew and my aunt was doing it and my brother started crying. It was weird. Abby says, do you know what's going to happen to you or anything? I don't mean to be rude, but Kenzie says, I want to go talk to a medium, but I don't know if Dom is ready yet. Abby likes a message. Kenzie says, well, I know I'm definitely going to have to go through court. Abby says, yeah, maybe wait to talk to him. Yeah, but you did kill 2 people, says Abby. And at the end of the day, we're not here to judge anyone. We're just here to judge Kenzie because Kenzie's the one who got arrested for intentionally killing 2 people. Not anybody else. So why did Mackenzie get arrested? I'm trying to look up the date. Oh, it was November, actually, not October. I was thinking it was October, but she was free for Halloween. So she got arrested in November. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Becky. Yeah, I just saw that. Thank you. The Shirilla say she was a minor, but the accident was only like 2 or 3 days before her birthday. Minor or not, she did it intentionally, and if that's what the evidence proved, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, we know the truth. Black boxes don't lie. Things like that don't lie. Science is science for a reason, and I don't care at the end of the day what Kenzie said because we saw the proof and all the paperwork and footage. Abby says, and you're not a you did kill 2 people and you're not a minor anymore. And this is still going on. So I don't know, girl. Kenzie says, I didn't kill anyone. It was an accident. We've had many of these discussions here, guys, on this channel about whether, we gave her the benefit of the doubt. We did. We all tried to. It's in the documents. We've all reviewed them. And then after the text messages, I think for a lot of us, it just solidified that, it was an intentional thing after how she was, I hate to say abusing because it sounds like really intense, but that's what she was doing to Dom. Kenzie said this wasn't on purpose. Abby says, I know, but I'm just saying. Abby says, Kenzie, if I'm going to be honest with you, I've said this before. A lot of people agree with me on this one about how you were reposting things about your modeling and stuff. But do you really think that's important in a time like this? I just don't understand that at all. My gosh. Yeah, I am loving Abby. Yes, we do love Abby. Abby's like, don't be lying to me. She's like, I went there and saw it myself, the road. Becky says what solidified her guilt was learning she renewed her license after the crash when she turned 18 and didn't claim any medical issues. Yeah, the POTS or whatever, the POTS. Hey, Lakeside. Yes, Abby is Dom's cousin. You must have missed that earlier. But good to see you, Lakeside. She infuriates us. I know. Kenzie says, I didn't repost anything. Abby says, I'm pretty easygoing person. That's why I'm trying to hear your side as well, but it just makes me angry. Kenzie says, I haven't posted anything since the accident happened. Abby says, you posted this to your story. Hold. Abby sends her the photo she posted. Abby's coming with the receipts. She's our type of girl. She's our type of girl. Q says she ran her mouth like she was grown and thought she was hard. Then when it comes to this, she's a minor. That video we watched yesterday with her talking to those girls in that house, my ass was so chapped, I wish I would have slapped her. Yeah, that audio from yesterday. If you guys missed the live yesterday, please, please, please go back and rewatch. You're fine, Lakeside. You're fine. There's a whole playlist on all of this case. So please, please support and go watch and maybe watch from the beginning of when we started doing the text messages because it might explain a lot of the comments. I know for new viewers, they might be jumping in and being like, wait, why are you guys being so like foul to Kenzie? But it's like, well, wait. We're justified on our opinions. We have gone through a lot of documents and stuff with Kenzie related to Kenzie, Kenzie says, my modeling is the last thing I cared about. What a liar. Liar. Remember that stupid post we saw? Oh my God, thank you for reaching out. She's been wanting to model for you or whatever. As Abuelita would say, it's not modeling, it's posing. She's not a model. Okay, let's move on. Abby says, and you and your mom both responded to that modeling agency. Kenzie says, there's no way in hell I posted that. Abby says, girl, hold on. Kenzie says, and what modeling agency did I respond to? Now she's calling us liars, babelets. Like we lied about it too. No, we saw it. We've seen it numerous times. We saw it in the paperwork, in the court paperwork. We saw it in the text messages, screenshots of it. And in one of the police body cams that we're going to be reviewing this week, I think Natalie Shirilla gets talked to about it. Hey, it's Caters. She threatened violence regularly towards the end of the relationship. Yeah. Kenzie says, because I have not gotten a message from any of them. Abby sends a photo. She says, or whatever that is. Kenzie says, they wanted to repost my picture, so I told them they could. There's no issue with that. Abby sends another photo. Abby says, I just don't think it makes sense to be responding and posting that picture to your story and having your mom respond. I thought that's the last thing you should be worried about right now, but that's just my opinion. Abby says, that's what Abby said. And then Kenzie says, I didn't post that picture on my story. Dom would want me to be happy and try to live normal. If all these people were saying these things to me in real life, Dom would whoop their ass. No, that's also not true. What innocent person needs to speak in a code language in front of police? I know, Becky. I know. Her little carny talk or whatever it is. Natalie claimed she took Kenzie's phone and responded on her behalf while she was in the hospital. What happened? This is what happened. Kenzie responded and then Natalie went after and responded, or vice versa. It happened. We saw both of the posts. We saw the screenshots. And we saw it in the Snapchat files, I believe. And then we saw it in, I think, some other evidence file we went through. Lord knows I can keep track anymore. But I try. But Natalie just responded to make it look like she was being a parent. Kenzie doesn't want people to call her out. Natalie should be consoling Miss Russo. Ew, Natalie can't. You know what? Nah, Natalie's not like that. Kenzie says, and I'm not sure where this conversation is going. Is this a trap or something? Are you trying to incriminate me or make me even feel worse than I already do? Everybody's acting like they were so close with him, and I wasn't the one sleeping at his house every single night taking care of him, and he was taking care of me, says Kenzie. The love of my life is gone forever. I'm never going to love again. I'm forever his, and I'm going to live on and do everything possible for him, whether it's eat the food he likes, wear the clothes he likes, go to the place he likes. I'm doing it for him. What about treating him like a good boy, like a good girlfriend, and him like a good boyfriend before you murdered him? How about that? Like, was that ever a thought? I'm so pissed. Abby says, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I want to do what you feel is best. I want you to do what you feel is best for you. But in the public eye, I think a lot of people do not agree with you, following, liking, commenting when this incident just happened. I'm not trying to bash you. I already said this, and I'm not trying to argue at all. Kenzie says, and both of the people that reposted that are people that we do not like. Wait, I think I can rephrase that message, Kenzie. What you should have said was, and both of the people that reposted are people that you do not like and do not like you, Kenzie, because we hardly ever heard that people didn't like Dom. Hardly ever. It was always you. Kenzie says, Cole and Alexis, that's literally hilarious. Abby says, I don't know who Alexis is, but I know who Cole is. That's not the point, though. It's not just them who think it's weird that what you were doing, when the incident just occurred. Kenzie says, Alexis is a disgusting fat bitch that tried to home wreck my relationship because she wants her gross friend to be with him. Now, this is the real Kenzie coming out right now in these texts to Abby. Yeah, this is a real Kenzie. Alexis is a disgusting fat bitch. That's the way she generally talks. Kenzie says, homewrecker. Abby says, why do I feel like I know who you're talking about? Like, is she actually fat? Kenzie says, Hannah? Question mark. And then she says, Alex is ginormous. Hi, Kara. Good to see you, Babelin. Oh, here we go, says Alicia. Alicia already knows what's about to happen. Okay, Jakey. Abby says, I've definitely seen her at the memorial. Kenzie says, yeah, and I have people being extremely weird, and it's also making this hard, and I know Dom's not with them. Kenzie says, I had a girl post to TikTok saying in another life, she's going to be his girl. Oh my God, this infuriates me because we know this is wild. We know that Kenzie didn't want Dom to be with anyone else. And this just proves it again right here. It says, remember how yesterday we were saying Dom could have had anyone he wanted? If she says that, then it must be true, JK. This is the most eye-opening messages ever. I know, you guys. I know. And I waited to give you the best for the last. Is that the quote? I don't know. Better late than never. Yes, please hit the like button. Please, please, please. The best for last. That's what I meant. Kenzie says, okay, I had a girl post to TikTok saying in another life she's going to be his girl when she's dating one of his best friends. She has been harassing the little fuck out of me. Abby says, yeah, I've heard it, that people were at his memorial that didn't really even fuck with him or talk to him that much, which is weird to me. I understand it's like they were classmates. They're going out of respect, but to act like, dumb, like the back of your hand is really, really weird to me. Dominic was my cousin, and I know we didn't talk every single day within the past 5 years, but he most definitely checked up on me when I was in a relationship. He always wanted to make sure I was happy and I was good, but I grew up with that kid. Abby says, WTF? Kenzie says, no, you are definitely one of the people that Dom is visiting. Abby says, that's a literal 𝗕𝗓𝗔𝗓𝗔. Kenzie says, your family and he loves you. Abby says, people couldn't tell you that his nickname was that, especially when he was younger. Abby likes a message. She says, I would die for that kid. Like F. Oh. Hey, Tiff. That makes me really sad. Kenzie could see and knew Dom was such a catch and could find way better. I'll see it. It's gibberish. Use it in Michigan. She's adding a lot of ease to her. Have a great night. Okay, beautifully broken. She never contributed to anything. Yeah, I know. Kenzie says, you may not look at me as family, but since Dom loves you, I love you and even love you if you don't have to feel that way about me. Kenzie says, yeah, his dad called him that. I wish I knew him when he was little. Abby says, that whole week, I was like, why Dom and not me? This isn't fair. It's so sad. Abby likes a message. Kenzie says, Abby, please don't say that. Abby says, yeah, his dad always told him that it is his sister's, honestly. Kenzie said, if it should have been anyone, it should have been me. Well, you said it, Kenzie. I guess I don't have to say it. Right? Not that I'm wishing death on anyone, but I mean, you said it yourself. Did she really just say those words? We're screaming, right? I know. Kenzie says, everybody wants me dead. Everybody wants me dead. Then she says, I want me dead. Abby says, no, but like, I'm just telling you that week was so bad for me, so bad. And I feel like I'm kind of being selfish right now, but I am bawling my eyes out like my heart is so shattered. Abby says, don't talk like that. That's not normal. I understand why you would feel that, but don't do anything to harm yourself because Dominic would want to help. And I understand you want to be with him, but he's with you. Kenzie says, you're allowed to cry. You're allowed to grieve. Abby liked the message. Kenzie says, I just hope he waits for me when I'm old. So when I die, we can have life again together. I would never do anything to hurt myself. I just wish it was me. But then he would be the one going through what I'm going through. And Abby says, yes, I understand that. Kenzie says, I don't know. This is just the worst feeling ever. I hope your boyfriend takes good care of you and makes you feel like a queen. I hope you guys can stay together forever because that would just make me feel so good. Kenzie says, I'm forever taken. Abby likes the message. And then Kenzie sends a video. Abby says, yes, absolutely. I feel as if he's my soulmate 110%. I've never felt this way before. Abby says, yes, he's my best friend. Kenzie says, this is also proof that I didn't post anything on my story just to make sure you don't think I would do that. Abby says, he takes such good care of me. I swear to God, there's something on your story. You're wearing that hat. I wouldn't lie. I swear on everything. Yeah, Abby, don't let her try to manipulate you. She did post it. She loves the attention. I know. Hey, Valerie. It only took a week for her to get over Dom. Yeah. Kenzie says, I'm glad you guys are a really cute couple. Reminds me of me and Dom. Abby likes the message. Kenzie says, it would have showed up on here because I honestly don't even remember if I did or not. Abby says, we've been through so much and we haven't been together that long, but I would take a bullet for him and he would do the same. I swear you did, Abby said. Kenzie says, I love it so much. And then Abby says, I promise you did. Abby likes it. And then Kenzie says, I don't know why it's not there then. I don't know. I'll try to figure it out or something. And Abby says, Kenzie says, yeah, I have no idea. I didn't know what was going around. Abby said, sorry, I was in the shower. And no, I do not. Kenzie says, yeah, he's saying effed up shit. When I get Dom's phone, I'll send you his playlist. Abby says, I found it. Abby likes the message. Kenzie says, OMG, can you send it to me right now? Abby sends a photo. Kenzie said, his Spotify playlist, WTF. Kenzie says, no, the pic you shared to your story. Did you see? Kenzie says, yeah, I do not remember that. Oh, okay. So now she doesn't remember. Okay. Would she feel that way if people felt sorry for her? 𝗕𝗲𝗍𝗕𝗏, I know, right? Please, says Ruth. Ruth is just like, please don't even say anything. Nasty. I know. Nasty. Wow, these are wild. I cannot believe that we are reading this right now. Okay, let's continue. Sorry, I was getting a drink. I hope you guys can hear me. Abby says, I don't know if it went through. I told you I wasn't lying. Kenzie says, but that's weird how it doesn't show up. I didn't think you were. Abby says, okay, good. She likes the message. And then Kenzie said, sorry. Abby says, all good. Abby took a screenshot of their message. Kenzie says, question mark, question mark. This is the best period. It's damning. I'm so glad we're reading these. I don't remember that. I know. Becky says, Kenzie might be having early onset dementia because she sure seems to forget a lot. Exactly. Even with these words to Abby, Abby is Dom's cousin. So for those of you just popping in and you're wondering, Abby is Dom's cousin. I don't trust Kenzie intentions. No, we don't trust Kenzie. Kenzie says, question mark, question mark. Abby says, I screenshot that last thing because that was weird to me. It went away. Abby sends a photo. Kenzie says, I heard your boyfriend wants to hurt me. She's telling Abby, I heard your boyfriend wants to hurt me. Well, maybe you deserve it, Kenzie. I don't know. Like you just killed 2 people. Kenzie says, I don't want to have to go to the police about him and Tyler's plan. Usually when people want to hurt someone, they keep it to themselves. Tyler. Here she is bringing up Tyler again. Remember in the calls? Remember how she tries to say all these things about Tyler in the phone calls that we go through? She says, you out of all people should know Dom wouldn't want this. Abby says, not true. She says, plan? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Abby says, they're not going to hurt you. I promise you that. Abby likes a message. Kenzie says, I was told that at the memorial, he looked at Tyler and said, you know the plan. Abby says, I have never heard anything about a plan, but I promise you I wouldn't let anything happen to you, so they're not going to do anything. I don't know where this is even coming from. Kenzie says, I trust you. Abby likes the message. She says, please do. Abby says, I don't even know what you're talking about. I promise. Abby says, can I add you on Snap? Kenzie says, IG. Abby says, why IG? Abby says, never mind then. Kenzie says, I'm not posting anything. Kenzie said, it's just a lonely Snapchat. Abby said, oh, okay. Kenzie says, yeah, I haven't posted on Snapchat in 3 weeks. I just use it for memories. Abby says, yeah, I understand that. Abby says, memories are hard to look at sometimes. Kenzie said, I just look at pictures all day long. Abby says, yeah, I'm sure you do. She says, wait, so you have your phone? Have you talked to any of his siblings? Abby says, I don't think Dom was sober that night. I don't know if you remember, but do you? Abby sends a photo. It looks like there's something on your story in that pic. Kenzie says, I don't know why you're trying to be all detective on me. Oh. Mi vida loca is Abby's tagline. She's all about it. She's showing her plans. I love Melly's facial expressions. Sorry, I just don't like her. Abby can't be manipulated. Abby's like screenshotting everything. I love it. Kenzie's like, I don't know why you're trying to be all detective on me. You're digging for information and you're saying you're not trying to be rude, but it's honestly weird and very uncomfortable. Abby says, no, I'm just making sure you're being truthful because I'm being truthful with you. Kenzie says, I have a private story like with 5 friends in it where I've been posting pictures of me and him, and that's no one's business but mine. Abby says, that's all you had to say. I want zero beef, but I'm going to question you if something doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so that thread with Abby ends there. And now we have Joker. She's messaging someone named Joker. And this is August 1st. So this was prior to, the dates are not in order. So this was prior to the conversation with Abby. Kenzie sends an attachment. It's about legislation targeting the health of transgender youth has been introduced to Ohio. Okay, so she's sending some, follow the link in our bio to take direct action with Equality Ohio. We need your voice. Okay, so she's sending some like post. And then she says, WTF. And then she sends another post. They're like ads or something. This is like a Pokemon thing. And Joker responds with an emoji. And then Joker, oh wait, this is weird. It goes backwards. So the dates. So this was in February. Okay. So then in March 28th, Joker says, not my zombie looking ass in the corner. Kenzie says, so there must have been a picture. Kenzie says, I cropped you out of it. Joker responds with emojis. Kenzie said, what's that? Joker says, zombie. Kenzie says on April 9th, do you want me to show you how to take care of your body better? Joker says, no, I don't take my own advice. Kenzie said, stubborn AF. She says, you still have a chance to turn your body around. I'm just saying. Joker says, I know. I'll take care of it when I like. Kenzie says, when you have the best health coach right here, you won't like it till you take care of it. Joker says, no, I hate it because my massive boobs. That's all. Otherwise, I like it. Kenzie says, you have a beautiful body. I get what you mean. Think about this. You're just a soul in a meat suit. You should just love yourself no matter what. You're going to be great either way. You're going to be a pretty girl and you would be a pretty boy too. Okay, so she's talking to, yeah, this is 2 days after that first message was 2 days after the crash. Who called her? This is somebody she's giving advice to that sounds like I don't know who Joker is, but it sounds like someone who's in the LGBTQ community or something. Yeah, August was the first message. Mackenzie thinks she's a teacher. Joker says, hell yeah. Joker says, thank you. Kenzie said, life isn't about pleasure. It's about peace. But I can get you a binder if you want. I'll find you the best one. Joker says, please do mine. Low-key sucks shit. LMFAO. Kenzie says, what size would you be? Joker says, I'm a D36-9. Kenzie says, if you get this binder, you will try to be a little bit more healthy because that will help with your emotions and depression. She says, okay, bet. Joker says, so medium or large? Joker says, I'm going to start going on walks. My hips are starting to fail. Kenzie says, I'm going to get you a medium, and if it's too small, we can return for a large. Joker says, bet. That's weird. Kenzie sends a photo. She says, what do you think about this? She says, you can come to the gym with me and Dom. When I go, I just do stairs or treadmill and Dom does weights. Joker reacts to the message, says, I like it. Thank you again. Kenzie says, okay, cool. I'll order it right now. Joker reacts and says, and then Kenzie sends an attachment on April the 13th of 2022. And it says, again, it's like trans people need your action. It's like some, what do you call those things? Like, it's something about the bill. The remaining 9 slides go into details on these bills. So she's sending like stuff like that. And then Joker reacts to the message. Kenzie sends another attachment about Lucky Charms making people sick. I wonder if this is when she started with her GMO bullshit. Joker reacts to the message. She says, I don't eat that anymore. Don't worry. Kenzie sends an attachment. Joker reacts again. And then Kenzie sends another attachment about Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp case on June 2nd of 2022. Joker reacts to the message. And then Kenzie sends another attachment, again, talking about, please don't take this seriously, some bill about sexuality. Kenzie says on June 23rd, shut the F up. Joker reacts and sends a heart. And then Joker says on July 2nd, suffer, to be honest, you don't. And then Kenzie said, it's annoying. Joker says, for real. Kenzie says, me. Joker reacts. And then on the 20th, Joker sends, for free, responding to Kenzie's story. Joker says, at least charge them like $15. Kenzie says, LOL. Joker says, LMFAO. On the 22nd, Joker says, told you got to start charging for them. And Kenzie, in response to Kenzie's story, Kenzie said, it's funny AF. Joker reacts to the message. Kenzie says okay, so that was the last message in July. And then on 8/16, which is after the crash, Kenzie says, did you save this? Joker responds with a video. Kenzie sends emojis. And then she says, Dom. Joker says, that's what it made me think of. Kenzie said sent emojis. Joker reacts. and then sends an attachment, and it's having to do with Beyonce release the love, some kind of attachment. Kenzie says, Jeffree Star has like 50 of those. Joker says, I'll still cook and eat them all. Joker says, sends another attachment. I don't know what that was about. Was she talking about feet again? Like you should charge them? I wonder. I wouldn't be texting anyone after after a tragedy. Yeah, I know. 2 days after the crash. OMG. Becky says she was trying to start a pyramid scheme or something. Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying, Becky. Yeah, if she was broken up about Dom, she would not be messaging like this. I know. I wonder if Joker is Maddie, her friend that Dom didn't like. I'm not sure. Okay, so that's the end of that thread. And then the next thread is with Delilah. And this starts on March 20th. Remember, these are relevant to the detectives thought that this was critical to the evidence package. Feet pics, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, because she said you should at least charge for them. So I was thinking that's maybe what it was. Okay, let's continue. So now Delilah says on March 20th, sends an attachment, I think of clothes. Or no. Yeah, something. And then on the 21st, she says, oh my God, yeah, they can ban you for cursing. She responds to Kenzie's story. So I'm wondering if this was when Kenzie's TikTok got banned. Kenzie says, I was literally calling people ugly and saying F, but they chose to ban me for saying that. Whack. Delilah says, ha ha ha, hateful behavior. Kenzie says, literally, I hate TikTok. I made a new account. Yeah, I was right. So it was when she got banned from TikTok. Delilah says, oh my God, you can even post on your old one. Or are you just banned from the live? Kenzie says, no, I can post on TikTok. It's just effing banned from live for 7 days for no reason. Delilah says, sends emojis. Kenzie says, I love you on March 22nd. Delilah sends an attachment. And it's basically like affirmations, it looks like. Kenzie says, literally, we have been watching movies all weekend. Like, we need to meet. Delilah says, I freaking love that account. I left bed to go get my nails. Tags it. I don't know what that means. Kenzie says, I just be doing my own nails at this point. And then on the 28th, Kenzie says, so pretty. Delilah sends hearts. And then Kenzie sends a picture on March 30th. And then she says, this is what it started with when she unsent it. Kenzie sends a photo. And then she sends another photo. And another photo. And another photo. Okay. And then she says, she keeps sending photos, but then she says, butt hurt over a video. Kenzie sends a photo. Delilah finally responds and says, ugly girls will never understand that if you're pretty, you're never broke. So what if your boyfriend pays for you? If I was her boyfriend, I wouldn't pay for shit because damn, what the F is that? And then Delilah says, stop living in middle school, coming from the girl who started Instagram direct message beef. Kenzie says, LMAO, for real, I think she's projecting because she peaked in middle school from being the school thought. She's mad I get applied. Delilah says, that's literally traumatizing. Are you okay? Do you need therapy after having to read those poorly written messages where she literally calls herself out? If the shoe fits. She wrote you a 6-page essay just to say, I'm not mad. LOL. Embarrassing. And then Delilah says, security help. Kenzie says, literally, and she's trying to talk shit on me like it's repulsive. Do you know how bad I wanted to say, worry about your pockets instead? But I don't want to body shame just in case I'm going to be famous soon and I can't be canceled. Kenzie literally thought she was going to be famous soon. Becky says, so this is before the crash. Yes, this is before the crash. I wouldn't be texting anyone. Oh yeah. Becky, she was trying to start up a pyramid skip. Okay, I already saw that one. If Dom was driving that night, everyone would have made it home safely. She shattered so many people and ruined lives. I agree, Becky. I'm so sorry. Good to see you, Sarah. So Kenzie says on March 30th, 2022, she doesn't want to body shame anyone because she's going to be famous. And then that way she can't be canceled for not saying mean things. And then she sends emojis and Delilah says, ha, I have to stop myself all the time too. Kenzie sends a photo and she says, and me and my friends are leaving reviews on the place she works at. Delilah says, ha, OMG. What the F is she talking about with you not wanting to smoke? Kenzie sends a voice message. And then Delilah sends a voice message. I wonder if these were some of the ones we covered the other night. Kenzie sends a voice message. And Delilah sends a voice message. And then Kenzie says, I came to his house fast. She's lucky she was gone already. Kenzie says, I have the brassies. She means like the brass knuckles. Who is she talking about? In March? I'm trying to remember. Delilah said, she's a freak. Kenzie responds with emojis. And then Delilah sends on April 3rd emojis responding to Kenzie's account. And Kenzie says, dead ass, I love you. And she says on April 4th, hard. And then she sends a Pinterest post. Delilah likes the message. She says, I should. And thank you, bae. And on April 13th, Delilah says, I need a fit check. Kenzie sends an attachment. Delilah says, purr. You're all so pretty. Kenzie says, I love you. I wished you lived in Ohio. I want to meet you. Delilah says, when my boyfriend and I go to Ohio to visit his family, we should totally meet up. Delilah sends emojis. So it's like some random person she met online, like on Instagram. Not a model. Oh my God. Don't hate me. Are these recent? Yeah, the date is, well, not recent, but it's recent to the accident where she killed 2 people. OMG, she's so stupid. I know you guys are yelling at me because I keep saying model, but hey, she's famous for the wrong reasons. I know. So on the 27th, April 27th, Kenzie says, bae, how is your nose? Delilah says, oh my God, so good. I had surgery this morning and I have little to no pain. I'm going to be swollen for a while and won't see results for up to a year. Oh, so Delilah is one of the girls maybe that Dom didn't like. Remember those party girls? Someone getting like some kind of nose job, it seems like. Right? Because she got like nose surgery. I don't know. Delilah says, but my doctor said he met all my expectations as closely as he would without doing anything that isn't safe. I'm so happy for this new chapter. Thank you for asking me. You're so sweet. I love you so much. Kenzie says, I just seen your TikTok, but I'm banned right now or I would have commented. I'm excited to see bae. I love you. I'm glad everything went well. On the 27th, April 27th, 2022, Delilah says, thank you for your positive energy always, babe. Ugh. Delilah likes the message. And then on May 3rd, 2022, Kenzie says to Delilah, so sexy. So she must have responded to her story. Delilah says, I love you, and sends a photo. And then she says, she's upon us. Kenzie says, OMG, stop. It looks so good. Literally amazing. Wow. And Delilah says, thank you so much, bae. And sends emojis. Kenzie says, I love you. Delilah sends an attachment. Kenzie sends an attachment. And then Kenzie says, would, with emojis. And then on May 25th, 2022, Delilah sends an attachment. And then Kenzie sends an attachment. So whatever those attachments were, I guess they were supposed to go into this document. Now we're going to start a new thread. And this is with Grace. And this starts on September 22nd. And I think it goes backwards. So the first message is September 22nd after the crash. No, nose job at a young age. I mean, that's probably what it was, but I don't know how old that person is she's talking to. She's famous, all right. Yeah, I know. Everybody loves anybody that will stroke her, right? So then, okay, this is going to be good, Grace, because, we've heard a lot about Grace. Kenzie says on August 15th, 2022, so after the crash, Kenzie sends an attachment. She's sending things, like when companies like Johnson & Johnson is expected to start making a powder with cornstarch. So they're like healthy post or whatever. Politics kind of, I guess. Grace says, wow, I used that shit today. Kenzie sends emojis. Oh, that was it. Okay. So I guess that wasn't enough. That was it. Why is that? There has to be more with Grace later on, I think. The next thread is Baby. I don't know who Baby is. And it goes all the way back to January 21st, 2022. Okay. So Baby says, bruh, me mommy, responding to Kenzie's story. And then on July 19th, Kenzie shares a story with this person. Baby sends emojis. And then on the 19th, shares a story. Kenzie says, I'm obsessed, literally such a goddess. Okay, so it's one of her friends. Baby likes the message. And then Baby says, aw, shucks, I'm obsessed with you, beautiful. These are random. The next thread is Mia. Mia on January 12th, 2022 responds emojis to Kenzie's story. And then on January 13th, she says, so annoying. 16th sends emojis. And she responds to Kenzie's story saying, perfect body. Obsessed with you. Kenzie says, love you. Mia likes the comment, the message, and says, I love you back. And then on the 19th, again, she sends hearts to Kenzie's story. Mia sends hearts. Okay, in February. And then on February 6th, 2022, Kenzie said, it's fire, like Leo. Mia says, yes, and sends emojis. Kenzie says, love you. Mia likes the message, sends emojis. Kenzie says, I love you on February 22nd. Mia likes a message. And then on February 26th, Mia says, come. Kenzie says, I have no one to come with, or I would, but I'm a spread it for you. Mia says, Rosie, and likes a message. Interesting. On March 17th, Kenzie said, yes, please. Mia likes the message. Kenzie reacts. And then on April 2nd, Mia says, bae. And then she says, he's funny AF, responding to Kenzie's story on the 11th. Kenzie says, I told him to text me that. Mia sends emojis. And then on May 23rd, Kenzie says, shit's not funny. It's stressful. Mia says, why? It's funny. If someone made one of me, I'd laugh. Kenzie says, it makes me look gross. Kenzie said, because it's gross AF. I already got the website taken down. I want to go to the police. Mia says, it's obvious, not you. Haha. Kenzie said, okay, that makes me feel better. Mia says, don't post revealing pics so they don't have nothing to steal from. So somebody was using Kenzie's feet pics or something she was doing and reposting them. Because Mia on the 23rd says, don't post revealing pics so they don't have nothing to steal from. Mia likes a message. And then on the 29th, responds to Kenzie's story and says, congrats, bae. Kenzie sends emoji. Mia likes. And then on June 16th, 2022, Kenzie said, is it organic and non-GMO? Mia likes it. She says, yes. And then there's a message unavailable. Okay. Kenzie said, I look so fried. Mia says, sexy on June 29th. She likes a message, sends emojis. On July 3rd, Kenzie says, I love you, Mia. Mia says, I love you. On the 7th, Kenzie sends an attachment. Mia likes it. Then on the 12th, she says, why? Responding to Kenzie's story. And then Kenzie says, because they don't engage. They just ruin my engagement. Mia said, still gives you followers, though. Kenzie said, stalker ghost followers. I don't care, she says. Mia says, interesting point of view. Kenzie said, it ruins engagement. Mia says, I'm over here trying to gain. Kenzie says, because if they have all these followers and it's getting pushed out to them, but they don't like it, it just ruins it. Mia says, any, LOL. Kenzie said, those accounts were just inactive. Kenzie says, wow. Mia likes the message on the 19th, then sends a sad face. Mia says, no bueno. Kenzie said, is she okay and safe? Mia says, for now, yes. Pray. Mia sends hearts. Kenzie says, I will definitely pray for her. Everything should be fine, girl. Just try to think positive. Then Kenzie said, why is the army in her town? Mia said, there are students that are training in army. Mia shares a story on the 22nd. Okay, they're sharing stories back and forth. So we're getting close to the 22nd. I wonder if she texts her closer to the accident or crash. It wasn't an accident. It was an intentional crash. Sorry. July 23rd, Kenzie says, haha, what the F? I can't with you. Sends emojis. Mia likes it. Mia says, haha, I was scrolling and saw this. And I was like, Kenzie, with hearts. She likes it. Kenzie sends emojis. And then on the 23rd, Mia says something about young and dangerous. Kenzie sends an attachment. They like the message. They're sharing some attachments, responding to the story. On the 25th, she sends another attachment. Mia sends an attachment. And then on the 26th, Kenzie said facts. Mia likes it. And then on the 29th, Mia sends an attachment and then another attachment. And Kenzie said, effing facts. I'm posting. Mia likes a message. On the 31st, that was the day of the crash. Mia says, do this, and sends an attachment. And then Mia responds to Kenzie's story on the 5th and says, I love you. I don't understand why those were relevant, but who is Mia? It must be someone that she's like friends with. Her feet? That's what I was thinking too. Oh, I hope you feel better, Sin. What did Becky say? Hey, Sal. I must have missed something. Okay, now the next ones are with Rosie. These will be good. I must have missed something. Sorry, I can't look at the chat while I'm reading completely. But I'm not ignoring you guys. Hello, abuelitas. Becky agreed that relationship was ending. Yeah. Don't worry, Leos. We know she is an anomaly. What did this Mia know what was going down? I know, right? Okay, so now we're gonna read the ones with Rosie girl. Oh, Rosie. I hope there's some good ones on here because she was always talking to Rosie too. January 9th, 2022. Rosie responds to her story and says yes. Kenzie says wild AF. She responds to her story on the 11th. And then Kenzie says on January 11th, 2022, I'm so excited for the pics. Rosie says, same, OMG. And then she says, for real, so annoying. That's Rosie responding to Kenzie's story. Rosie sends an attachment. On the January 14th, Rosie says, you look so good. Kenzie said, like, yes. I was hoping you posted those. Message unavailable from Rosie. Okay, and then on the 18th, she responds to Kenzie's story with emojis. And then Rosie sends an attachment, basically sending profiles. Yeah, she's sharing like Instagram links with Kenzie all the way through the February 9th. And then on February 9th, 2022, Rosie says, if you click on her link, she has a form you can fill out if you want to model for her. And she DM'd me after I did it. So we're in the process of planning a shoot. Rosie sends a link and another link. And Kenzie says, I love you. Rosie likes it. And Rosie says, I love you, girl. And then Rosie sends another link on the 15th. Rosie responds with purr. Kenzie says, hee hee on the 17th. On the 18th, Kenzie says, I love you. Rosie sends an attachment on the 22nd. I think this was like their modeling pics or whatever they were doing. February 22nd, Kenzie says, I love you, sends an attachment. Rosie likes and says, I love you. Kenzie says on the 23rd, OMG. Stop right now. Rosie likes the message. Rosie says, I'm obsessed. Then on the 28th, Kenzie says, I'm coming. Rosie likes the message. And she says, OMG, yes. And then on March 28th, she sends her a link for shopping. And on April 10th, Rosie says, oh my God, you're making me want to do it now. Kenzie says, LOL, do it. Rosie says, yes, I love it. Kenzie says, I copied you. I loved yours. But TikTok was going to ban me. Rosie says, I love it. F TikTok. And then sends emojis. Kenzie says, I love you on April 22nd. Rosie likes it on the 27th. And then on May 22nd, she sends a link. And Rosie says, for real, for real. Kenzie says, how the F do you train Bubba so good to take good photos? Rosie likes it. And she says, LMFAO, I make him until he does it right. I just won't stop asking for more. Kenzie says, bye. Dom gets so mad when I do that to him. Send me pics. I want to see. And then on the June 23rd, Kenzie sends a link and it says the medical examiners identified the male deceased. So like some link to some other crime. Kenzie likes the message. Rosie likes the message and says, bruh. And then on June 25th said boots. Kenzie says, you think they make me look older? Rosie said, yes. And then there's a message that's unavailable. Kenzie sends something on the 27th to her about her stories. And she says, send me this picture on my life. Kenzie says, bye. I love taking pics with y'all. It's actually fun AF. She sends an attachment. Rosie likes it. Rosie sends a photo. They're probably sending modeling or whatever they're doing, posing photos, modeling photos, wannabe model photos. I don't know. June 29th, Kenzie sends an attachment. Rosie says, purr. July 1st, Rosie responds with emojis. She says, Kenzie says, so gassy. Sends a link on the 6th, another one on the 7th. And then Rosie on the 8th said, that's hot, and sends a link, probably a photo or something. And then it jumps to July 8th. Rosie sending more links, back and forth, back and forth. July 9th, Rosie says, OMFG, I literally love you. Kenzie says, I just got banned again. What is TikTok's email? Rosie likes a message. She says, bruh, they're so annoying. Burn down the headquarters. Kenzie says, I'm so salty. Rosie sends attachments. Kenzie sends an attachment on July 13th. Clothing. More clothing links back and forth. On July 16th, Rosie says, I feel like this would look good on you. Sends more links. Kenzie says, I love that. OMG. I don't know if they have extra. I'ma look. Kenzie sends an attachment. On the 21st, Rosie says, I love you. Kenzie sends hearts. Rosie likes the message. Shares a story, Kenzie's story. And then Kenzie shares something. Kenzie on the 22nd says, so sexy. Rosie likes the message. Sending pictures of each other back and forth, I think. And then July 23rd, links to clothing. Okay, on the 24th, Kenzie says, literally love you so much, even added the cute background. Rosie liked the message. She says, baddies gotta put each other up. Kenzie sends emojis. Rosie said, slay on the 25th. Kenzie sends an attachment, more links, and Rosie says, ILY, I love you, and sends an attachment. Kenzie says, LOL on the 26th. Says, they say the worst shit. Rosie likes it, responds with emojis, sends something. Okay, so it's getting close to the day of the crash. Kenzie says, 28th, LMAO, I'm showing Dom. Rosie likes it on the 30th, and then it jumps to August 4th. August 4th, so a couple days after the crash, Kenzie sent Rosie a link about 19-year-old Davion Flanagan and Dominic Russo killed in a fatal car accident. So she sent that to Rosie. Is Rosie the girl Dom didn't want her hanging with? No, Rosie was her friend. But she was the one who's like in all those like wannabe model pics. So she sends a link to Rosie on August 4th. And Rosie responds with, I'm sorry, babe. And August 14th, Kenzie responds with emojis and sends another link about the crash. Rosie likes the message, sends emojis, and then sends her like some spiritual thing, I think. Kenzie on 8/16 says, I love you. Rosie likes the message and says, love you, girl. Kenzie sends a link. Rosie likes it on the 17th, and she says, I'm here for you always. Kenzie said, it's giving, and then sends a link. Rosie likes it. Rosie says, it is. I love you. And then Kenzie says, did you get the new Skims? Kenzie said, I got this cute set. Soft lounge. So 8/18/2022, that is like what, 2 weeks after the crash? Yeah. Um, that's what she's thinking about, her skims. She's probably in the hospital at this time. Rosie likes the message. Rosie says, "Oh my god, no, I need to order more. I need the leggings. Show me when you can the new." Kenzie says, "I just got it in pink. Literally, we need to become the Skims duo." Rosie likes the message. Rosie says, "Yes, the Skims are so iconic. We're the only ones that wears them too in Strongsville. LMFAO." Sends a link. Kenzie sends emojis. On August 20th, Kenzie says, "You're so pretty." And then Kenzie sends a link. Rosie says, "I love you." And then sends an attachment and another attachment. And that was it. So I think that they just wanted to prove that she was not showing any remorse. Yeah. So shallow and stupid. I know. Oh, something's in my eye. Sorry. Okay. Next. Messages with Natalie. Are you kidding me? I know. It's wild. It's absolutely insane. She had no money. I wonder who was paying for her skims. Okay. Now we're going to need to get into these messages with Miss Natalie Shirilla. Hopefully we get some information from these. Yeah, Natalie. I know, right? I know. Okay. So January 4th, 2022. Message unavailable. Kenzie sends a message on January 8th. An attachment. She says, "I need." And she sends something about an attachment about Mexico City, the home. I don't know, some weird message designed by someone. I don't know, sends her some attachment. And keeps sending Natalie attachments. Why does it say message unavailable? On the 11th, sends more clothing links. She said hat. Natalie responds with emojis. January 15th, Natalie says, "Love this," responding to Kenzie's story. And then on the 20th, what is this? Instagram. Sends Kenzie some kind of Instagram link. Then Kenzie sends an attachment. I'm trying to see what these links are. I don't know why Kenzie say unavailable. January 25th, Natalie sends a heart. She's sending more links. "I am not intimidating. You are intimidated. Watch this reel by Brittany Dawn." Okay, I don't know who that is. Kenzie on the 27th is sending clothing links, I think. Natalie on January 29th says, "Look at her makeup." So they're just sending each other back and forth links and makeup stuff. Natalie says, "Not her picture, but you have to click on her link." Kenzie says, "Which one?" Natalie says, "The first one is so cool." Kenzie sends, I don't know what that is. Anna Bolena official. Must be a brand. Natalie reacts to it. Then sends a reel. She's sending her reels. Natalie sent an attachment. Natalie sent an attachment. Okay, so Natalie likes to be online too. Kenzie's message is unavailable. I don't know why it says that. And then Kenzie sends an attachment talking about Kanye West. Natalie likes it on February 4th. I wonder why if they redacted them or if that's how they are. Natalie responds to Kenzie's story again on the 6th. Then on the 10th again. Kenzie sends an attachment of a cat. Natalie likes it. Natalie sends a Valentine's Day video. Is this just a bunch of links they're sending to each other? Kenzie sends an attachment on February 15th. Natalie says, yikes. LOL, the comments. To sneeze. So okay, I had to sneeze. Excuse me. Natalie says, yikes. LOL, the comments. And then Natalie is responding to her story again. Okay, so all those stories that we have been seeing of Kenzie with modeling and posing and smoking and all of this, Natalie's been seeing all of it. Because here she's liking and responding to everything Kenzie's posting on her stories. So we know what kind of behavior Kenzie is putting in those pictures, and Natalie's just looking at them, liking them. Natalie's childish AF. I know. Natalie's not a good mother with good intentions. I'm shaking my head already. I know. On February 17th, Natalie says, look at the stuff I can make, and sends a photo. I wonder if this is when she was, crocheting those stupid bikini tops or whatever for Kenzie. I don't remember exactly the date around that when that was going on. Natalie sends another photo and another photo. Kenzie says on February 17th, the middle one. Natalie says, there are so many pretty ones. I should give you her Etsy link so you can tell me what you like, and then I'll get the pattern. There's a teal one that's freaking amazing. I can't find the pattern though. Oh, so there's something on Etsy that Natalie's looking at and she's trying to replicate it. Kenzie sends an attachment. And then Natalie says on February 18th, oh my God, I cannot take it. Sends an attachment, sends an attachment, sends an attachment. Wow, it looks like Natalie spent a lot of time on Instagram. And then she sends her like a higher self. If there was a best time to believe in yourself, let go of limiting beliefs and chase your dreams. Natalie sent that. Like affirmations. Yeah, this message from Kenzie's unavailable. I wonder why, if it was deleted. Natalie responds. Kenzie said on February 24th, I want it. It's cute. 25th, Natalie sends an attachment. Kenzie sends her an attachment about modeling. Okay. March 2nd, Kenzie sends another attachment. And then March 4th, Natalie says, Kenzie, did you block me again? What in the world, honey? Your message is at 4 p.m. Oh, your massage is at 4 p.m. and your facial is at 5:15. Kenzie, did you block me again? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Natalie knows Kenzie's blocking her. Why do I think that's funny? Kenzie didn't want her to see the shit she was doing. Natalie says on the 5th, sends an attachment about a tapping technique. It's scientifically proven technique that works to rewire the brain. Listen, Natalie, your little links that you're sending back in March clearly didn't work because Kenzie's brain was not working. I think she had a friend named Nat, but I think this is her mom. Because when she said, I want to make the crocheting things, that was Natalie, from what I'm sure about. And it says Natalie SH, so I'm assuming Natalie Shirilla. But if I'm mistaken, I don't know. It doesn't sound like I am, though. Yeah, because why would she block her friend Nat and then unblock? Well, I guess Kenzie did that a lot. March 5th, Kenzie says bullying and sends emojis. Natalie says, I must have missed the part about bullying. All I saw was for stress and anxiety. I bet this helps this big time. I gotta watch it again. Kenzie says, it's funny AF. Natalie says, you're supposed to do this kind of stuff in the privacy of your own home or in private. Danny, okay, so it's Natalie Shirilla. Because here she is bringing up Danny. their sister, Kenzie's sister. Interesting. Okay. She says, you're supposed to do this kind of stuff in the privacy of your own home or in private. Danny said the same thing. She said, if she did get this, she'd get bullied or made fun of. LOL. You're supposed to do this in private or in a group setting like they are, but mostly in private. And then she sends a heart. When she responds to Kenzie's story and says a heart. And then sends an attachment again about anxiety and depression. And then the next day she sends a video. Kenzie's message is unavailable. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. I think that's just the way it is. Natalie says on the 11th, sends an attachment. Kenzie says, hell no. Natalie says, could you imagine? And then Kenzie sends her an attachment for some shopping links. Natalie sends attachments on the 12th and the 13th. Kenzie says, aw, on the 13th. Natalie, do you have a life? Natalie then sends her another attachment on the 14th. Kenzie sends an attachment about avoid food waste in the kitchen. Kenzie sends an attachment, and then she says, I want to make clothes. She sends an attachment on the March 15th. And then on March 17th, Natalie sends an attachment. Kenzie responds with WTF. Natalie says, let me know when you're awake. I don't want iMessage to wake you up. Natalie's literally messaging her on Instagram because she knows that Kenzie would cuss her out if she woke her up. Makes me wonder if Natalie didn't play young. Natalie? Yeah. Yeah, and she says, I love you so much before they hang up because that's all she's got. A heartless, soulless demon that wants everything for nothing. Yeah, I know. So yeah, Natalie says, let me know when you're awake. I don't want to iMessage to wake you up. And then Natalie says on the 21st, March 21st, Faith's mom wants to know if you're giving her a ride to Polaris today so she can plan accordingly. Okay, the fact that Natalie Shirilla is like scared to text Kenzie is ridiculous. She's literally messaging her on IG. The sad thing is Natalie thinks she's being a good mother. Exactly. So then Kenzie says, I don't care. And then on the 22nd, Natalie sends another attachment. Okay. And then on the 24th, Natalie writes this message. I write to you today to ask you for a favor on behalf of the neighborhood. I love dogs. Everybody loves dogs, but people also love their sleep and their downtime after a hard work's day. And oftentimes your dog barks for an extended period of time, either very early in the morning or very late at night. Sometimes it's about 20 minutes in length. It wakes me up quite often. And if it happens to me, I can assure you it's happening to many of your other neighbors as well. I have attached the noise ordinance in regards to dogs barking for your review because I was trying to see if there was an allowable time for this to take place, but it turns out there isn't. There is no time that an extended period of dog barking is allowed ever per the city. I want to share with you just in case you didn't know either. I'm asking you to kindly do your best to minimize the duration of that time your dog barks, and please be conscious of the time for the sake of your neighbors. Thank you. And Natalie says, also don't forget to show me that email on the other collab situation. I need to look at that because nothing should ever have spelling errors. When that happens, it's typically a scam or something to get information out of you. I'm not saying it is. I just want to look at it first to make sure. I don't know what the hell that's about. Someone must have sent that to Natalie? I don't know. Too bad there's no more clarification. Then on the 25th, she sends a photo. Kenzie says, hell no. And then sends a link an attachment on the 26th. Kenzie's obsessed with food. She's sending like some food collaborations that both Pepsi and IHOP. I don't know. Natalie says, oh my God, no Pepsi, LOL. Kenzie sends another attachment. And then on the 27th, Kenzie says, did they tell all these boys to look sad or something? Like, what the F? Natalie responds with, what the F? ? She says, oh, somebody passed away with a tribute or something. That's why it says fly high. But why would they take a photo shoot about that? Natalie sends an attachment. Then Kenzie sends an attachment. I don't know what these attachments are. And then Kenzie sends, I think, an attachment of jewelry. On the 28th, she says the top. Natalie says, sorry, pumpkin, you have to find a solution for noise canceling that doesn't cause anxiety for you. This kind of thing will always happen because you can't control outside factors. You have to do what you can for yourself so that you can sleep peacefully. Sorry, pumpkin, with an N. Pumpkin. I don't know. Probably what I'm assuming here is Kenzie was bitching about the noise and not letting her sleep. Remember, Kenzie complained about the dog barking to Dom, so Kenzie probably had her mom send that letter to the neighbor. Oh, thanks, true crime type of mind. Becky says, I'm just wondering, through all these texts in the year prior to the crash, have they ever mentioned any medical episodes? No. Not that I recall. I think there was one when she was like a child or something. Remember those police reports that we recently read? I think I included them in one of the lives I did as of recent. Anyways, so Natalie says, pumpkin, you have to do what you can for yourself so you can sleep peacefully. Kenzie then sends an attachment about Will Smith. Oh, that was when Will Smith like slapped someone on stage, Chris Rock, I think. Natalie says, that's because he may lose his Oscar for misconduct. You can't just hit people, even though it may or may not have been warranted. I feel bad for him. That's what Natalie said. Kenzie on the 30th sends an attachment about someone passing away. Oh, passing away on a roller coaster or something. Kenzie said, did you see this? Natalie says, holy crap, I was just reading about this today. He should have never been allowed on that ride. He was too big. Kenzie said, makes me scared for dad. I know he's not that big, but still, did you see the video? Natalie says, no, the article I saw did not have a video. Did you watch it? Kenzie says, yeah, I seen it. Kenzie says, I'll send you it. Kenzie sends an attachment. Then on April 5th, Natalie sends a photo. And then another photo. And another photo. Kenzie sends an attachment with the text, damn. Wait. She's sending an attachment, I think, of one of her friends. Kenzie on April 6th, she says, damn, and sends an Instagram post. And then Natalie responds with, ugh, too late, psycho Jada. So now she's talking about Kenzie's friend. Too late, psycho Jada. Melly, I remember one where she was complaining of fainting or lightheaded, but nothing like a blackout. Right. I stopped liking him right at that moment. Who? Pumpkin? Really? Yeah, please call me Pumpkin from now on. Patty says, yeah, people are horrible. Natalie sends an attachment on the 7th. Natalie, get the hell off Instagram. And then Kenzie says, Mimsy. Natalie likes the message. Then Kenzie sends an attachment. More attachments. Natalie sends emojis with a skull, like I'm dead or something. And then Natalie sends another attachment. Okay, lots of attachments here. April 12th, Natalie says health benefits of cane sugar. Oh, Lord. Okay, this could explain a lot. Like, Natalie is like this. She might have been rubbing off on Kenzie. Like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree here, you know? Natalie sends another photo, more photos, and then on the 12th, she says, I don't trust that, says Kenzie. I don't care. Natalie says, read the article. There's information about other sugars in there that you might find beneficial or useful. Yeah, it sounds like this is cracking me up. It's Jada was one of the girls Dom cheated with, I think. Yes. Why is Natalie like, I wonder if this is why Kenzie was like also so obsessed, you know, with like sugars and GMOs and all this bull. Natalie says, OMG, and then sends an attachment and another attachment and another attachment. And then on April 17th, she says, I just got done doing top secret Easter stuff. So don't come over super, super early. Give us a chance to get up and get the house situated. LOL. Hey, I just noticed it's after midnight. So happy Easter, pumpkin. Why is she not texting her? She's literally scared to text Kenzie because she doesn't know what Kenzie's doing and if Kenzie's going to be pissed. Dude, like what? My mom would never, I guess, maybe, I don't know, weird relationship. My mom would not, I would not have my mom messaging me on Instagram. Like she can have my number and text me whenever she wants. She was all up living through her kid. Embarrassing. Patty says, sounds like a big baby. Natalie knows Kenzie's getting high. Ah, that's why. She's like, I don't want to interrupt her hitting the bong in the closet. Got it. Yeah. That's our opinion only, but probably makes sense. I don't know why hers are little. Natalie sends another picture on the 18th. Attachment, a photo, another photo. And then she says, do you see how the ground gets bumpy there and it's smooth everywhere else? I circled where you will be traveling through the mountains and about how long it will take for you to get there from here. Sends a photo. She says, this is Natalie. I basically wanted to show you where to find the mountains on the map. We'll talk about the routes tomorrow. I think there's a faster way to go without tolls if you just take 77. We'll go over the different routes tomorrow. I'm off all week, so we can do it whenever. Natalie sends an attachment on the 18th. And then on April 20th, Natalie says, how are you feeling? Kenzie says, a little better, to be honest. I feel good now. Natalie likes it. Then she says, the best. On the 21st, she responds to Kenzie's story and says, the best. Natalie says on the 22nd, let me know when you're awake, honey. On the 23rd, she says, oops, sorry, pumpkin. I meant to send that to my mom. That's where we're staying, though. Room number 307, and sends a hotel link. April 23rd, I'm trying to think if we remember anything about official site of Holiday Inn Express. What were they doing during that time, the Shirillas? I can't remember throughout the text. I'll have to go back. April 25th. Oh, the Florida trip. That's what it was. Okay, thank you, Becky. Thank you. Talking to her like she's 6. Pumpkin, are you awake? Pumpkin. Okay, so 25th. Natalie says, April 25th, she says, oh my God, they just showed on the news that the Red Bull plane stunt ended in a crash. What a bunch of freaking idiots. Nobody died, but the whole thing went completely wrong. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Kenzie says, no effing way. Natalie says, did you see it? I missed the news clip. I mean, did they actually think that was going to be successful? Question mark, question mark. Kenzie says, no, I didn't. Then 2 days later, Natalie responds to Kenzie's story again. Don't ever use that voice again, please. Pumpkin. No, I don't know why Natalie is spending all of her time on Instagram. Can someone tell her, get the hell off and go be a parent? Thank you very much. Okay. I can't imagine talking to my mom like my mom that way at that age. Tippy says, I love that voice. Don't get me started, guys. Who's the oldest, Danny or Kenzie? Kenzie's older, right? This speaks volumes. Doesn't it, Tiff? Yeah, her dad. I know. Pumpkin. Okay, 27th, Natalie responds to her story again. And then she sends an attachment on the 28th. And another attachment. Kenzie sends an attachment. Okay, well, you guys, they were really focused on like sending each other shit on Instagram and really not communicating about anything. Yeah, Kenzie's older. Barb says the voice is perfect. Okay, Kenzie sends an attachment with the text butterfly tears. I don't know what the hell that means. Then she sends another attachment, a concert link, just another makeup look. Okay. Natalie on the 29th, Kenzie sends another makeup look. And then Natalie says, perfect. And your face gems were delivered today. Face gems. Oh, for prom. For prom. That voice cracks me up. Pumpkin, are you awake? My mom never called me pumpkin. She called me little shit when I was in trouble. Natalie is younger than Kenzie. With the voiceovers. Yes, irony with the voiceovers. Okay, so she says, your face gems were delivered today. Kenzie said, she has so much stuff. Natalie says, perfect. Heart, heart. I'm sure you can find this with products from Whole Foods. Yeah, okay. So here we see Natalie enabling her dumbass GMO diet, whatever the hell. What's a face gem? It's those things we saw last night in the Snapchat. Remember, she puts the little diamonds on her eyes and she was like doing little selfies. Natalie's sending all that GMO food crap to Kenzie, but won't pay for any of it. Face gems. Sorry, not gems. Gems. That would be super tunnel over every person talking to Slender Bean. I'm screaming, says Monica. Yeah, I'm a bit afraid of her sister. Yeah, I know. Social media controlled their mindsets and relationships with each other even. I agree, Tiff. I agree. So Natalie says on the 29th, I'm sure you can find this with products from Whole Foods. And sends a photo. And then an attachment. And then on the 30th, she says, these guys were just on Shark Tank. Plant-based superfood bacon made from the ocean. Natalie, get a life. No, Natalie spelled it wrong, Melly. Spelled what wrong? She assumed Dom would take care of all the groceries. Dude. Then on the 30th, Natalie says, it's solely from the proteins found in seaweed. I can't with this part. Like, I'm screaming. Because what? Shut the hell up, Natalie. What do you even know about seaweed? Natalie doesn't have a life. Okay, then she sends another attachment. Oh, Natalie's sending a TikTok. Oh, okay. So Natalie was on the TikTok too. Yeah, okay. I wonder like how sheltered Natalie Shirilla was because she's like living through Kenzie, wannabe Kenzie. Okay. So then she sends a photo on May 4th and she says, Natalie says, "Are you good with D? Are you good with the D or do you want to complete those final assignments?" Natalie, what do you mean, are you good with the D? No, you tell her to get her grade. Get that grade up, you sloppy little lazy Kenzie. Do your homework. What do you mean, are you okay with the D? This explains so much, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for Natalie Shirilla. She's not passing. Dude, Evie, can someone tell Natalie Shirilla? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's different in schools. That is not passing, baby. That is not passing here. You are not passing. You cannot pass, go and collect $200. Absolutely not. That is failing in my schools as far as the education organizations I have attended. Natalie is stunted, in my opinion, said Lakeside. Irony says the D. Not that the D like the letter grade. Thank you, Leo made 96. Shout out to you for becoming a member and joining and supporting the channel. I appreciate you and I'm so happy that you're joining the membership. Thank you so much. She is letting Mackenzie fail. What? We all know where it went wrong. Good old Ohio, no child left behind. A D is passing. No, a D is passing in Ohio. Well, no wonder. No offense to anyone living in Ohio, because I know Austin is really smart. But Kenzie was not smart, and this is a problem. This is a problem. Evie says, haha, I say that all the time, Melly. Do not pass go. Yeah, no. Natalie, send her straight to jail. Can you tell I like Monopoly? Natalie watches so much TV and thinks Kenzie is a gangsta. Her parents failed her. Okay, let's continue. Are you good with the D or do you want to complete those final assignments? Kenzie says, dude, I don't care about A, B, A, D. Yeah, we whatever that means. We know you didn't care about your grades. And then she says, what? Oh my God, this is hilarious. She says, dude, I don't care. A, B, A, B, A, D. And then she says, unless you want to fix it. Reese says, imagine having a kid and being excited about only to live as if that child is your dictator and you're living under their communist rule, right? Unless you want to fix it. Like what? Kenzie's telling her mom to like do the homework or something? Natalie says, that's what I thought. A D is passing, so it's all good. Wow. When a parent doesn't encourage you to do better, I have a problem with that. And I'm not a parent, but yes, like Mallory said, it's pathetic. If D's passing in Ohio, it will be required to take 900 classes at junior college. And Steve Shirley was a teacher too. Dude, I'm screaming. Natalie, this is the worst thing ever. Like, we thought you were a POS before, Natalie, if you're watching this. We definitely don't think you're a smart cookie either. She says Generation Z has created an organization aimed to shut down anti-abortion clinics websites if you would like to be a part of it. Okay, now I don't want to be mean, but I think something is wrong with her brain. I think something is wrong with her brain. She used to be like, do you want to go to school today, pumpkin? Instead of dragging her ass to the car and driving her there. Yo, I didn't get that option. Like, if I was gonna ditch and get in trouble for it later, I better leave that house in the morning to go to school. Literally. Okay, so then Natalie sends an NBC link. Supreme Court leak on its potential abortion ruling has sent the internet into a frenzy. La 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 la. Okay, we know what Natalie cared about. And then sends another attachment and then sends emojis. And Kenzie says, "Yeah, I just seen that. What the F?" So she died because of him? Natalie says, "Yeah, apparently he's messed up ever since his mom died. He was arrested last February for rug consumption, driving under the influence, and all sorts of other stuff. And I guess he pew-pewed her because she was going to leave him. Hang on, and I'll show you the comments." Kenzie says, "I'ma find the post." Then Natalie sends a photo. And she says, "Good. There are so many comments. I can't open everything." Kenzie says, "I found it. It's so effed. What the actual F is wrong with that kid?" Kenzie said, "Looks like an effing pedophile." Natalie says, "What a mess." And then the next day, Kenzie says an attachment again about weird links. Like, this project will feature the Pioneer Station, something to do with Ohio, probably. I don't know. I'm not from Ohio. Thank goodness. No offense. I like where I'm from. Thank you very much. I hate when people say, "I seen that." Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah says, "Terrible. I was a dropout, got pregnant, no education at all. My daughter's 21, almost finished vet nursing. There's no excuse." Thank you for sharing. And good for your daughter. That sounds amazing. Okay. May 6th, Natalie sends emojis. Kenzie says, "Hell no. I would never go." Natalie says, "Me either. Scary. LOL." And then she sends an attachment. On May 9th, "Happy Mother's Day. What a great day." Natalie sending that. And then on the 10th, Kenzie sends her something about Vicky White. Oh, when that whole thing happened. I think that was like the officer who helped someone escape or something. Natalie says, "Brave? No, honey. That's not what bravery looks like." And sends a photo. Kenzie says, "Right? The comment section is full of Black people. You should read it." That's what Kenzie said. Are you like lightweight racist, Kenzie, or what? The comment section is full of Black people. You should read it. Not everyone, Melly, just Kenzie and Natalie. um, yeah. Natalie says, "OMG, okay." Kenzie sends an attachment. And then Kenzie sends another attachment, like a link to something stupid ass articles. And then sends another Kenzie sends another one that said with the text, "I love y'all so much." Instagram attachment. Natalie says, what the DF?" I think she meant what the F. Kenzie says, "No clue. She's wildin'." Natalie says, "One of the comments said this was before she had kids. Good Lord, Brit. LOL, LOL." Kenzie said, "It's not. That's her right now." Natalie sends a video. Then Kenzie sends a video of JonBenet Ramsey, you know, that case. Natalie sends a photo on May 12th of, it must have been another article, because Kenzie said, "Did he pass and take the final?" Oh, now they're talking about grades. "Did he pass and take the final?" And then that's what Kenzie said, and then sent the link to the Lucky Charms thing to Natalie also. She sent it to I think it was Snow Bunny. Natalie says, "That's awful. She hasn't had those for years. Thank God." The Lucky Charms. Kenzie's message is unavailable. Natalie says on May 17th, "Please tell me you still have my debit card." So she paid for something for once in her life. Wow. Natalie sends a TikTok about Jason Momoa and then sends another one about prom and then sends another photo. And Kenzie says on the 22nd, of course. Kenzie sends an attachment introducing Mr. and Mrs. I don't know what that is. Natalie says, "Who is that?" The guy. Oh, Kenzie said Travis Barker. Natalie Shirilla says, "I don't think I know who that dude is. Do you? Do you like him? Who is he? From where?" I'm weak. They're talking about Travis Barker. You know who Travis Barker is? Kourtney Kardashian's husband. I'm cracking up. I've never shamed my D for getting Ds. I let them know they're so smart and they should. Yeah, as if Natalie would ever get Mama, right? I only have dogs and cats. Oh yeah, I don't have, yeah. I like pets. Do you know who he is from where? And then Natalie sends a photo on the 23rd, May 23rd. And then another photo. And another photo. Geez. And then another photo, all on the 23rd. And then she says, "This guy is on Shark Tank right now. It's all organic and non-GMO." Sends again the wild-crafted sea moss. Kenzie responds, "Message unavailable." And then Natalie says, "Yo, what is this, guys?" Natalie sends a photo. And another photo. Kenzie says, "From Florida?" Natalie says, "Yes." Kenzie sends an attachment, something to do with dogs. Natalie likes it. Then Natalie sends another attachment on the 24th and the 26th. Then on the 29th, Natalie says, "Today's the big day, boo boo. XOXO, XOXO. Let me know when you're awake and what kind of fruits and veggies do you want from Allison's." So I'm assuming this was like graduation. They're talking about Travis because Kenzie thinks she's friends with Kim. Exactly, thinks. Becky says the car was put into neutral and then pushed back into drive the seconds before the crash. There's no way she was unconscious because who put back into drive then? Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. Probably Kenzie. Yeah. Yeah, Ruth is like, whatever. Ruth is over her shit. Oh my God, her mom is the worst. I know. I know. Okay. Kenzie says, "I'm up right now." So this must have been graduation or prom. I don't know. Kenzie says, "I'm up right now." She says, "I can come to Allison's with you if you want." Kenzie, that was on the 29th, and then sends an attachment about grocery store and oh geez, organic foods. Here we go. Shop at the farmer's market. Okay, whatever, Kenzie. Natalie sends emojis on the 29th. She says, "You sure did." Oh, she responded to Kenzie's Instagram. She said, "You sure did." Heart, 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 heart. Kenzie says, "It's wild." Natalie says, "XOXO ESCO, XOXO." That's for sure. And then on the 31st sends a picture. And then another picture. And then she sends emojis and hearts. Okay. And then on June 1st, 2022, Natalie says, "A 15 and a 20-year-old drowned today. Please don't go out super far and just be aware of the water and your instincts." Oh yeah, because that was probably when when she wanted to go swimming and Dom was like trying to work and Kenzie's like, "No, I want to go swimming." Yeah, all about the money. Okay, and then Natalie sends a photo on the 1st. Kenzie says, "What the F?" Kenzie sends an attachment. Natalie likes it. On the 2nd, Kenzie says an attachment about Amber Heard following her guilty verdict. And then Kenzie sends another attachment about electric technology and GMOs, I guess. I don't know. And then Natalie sends a photo on the 2nd. And then she says, "I'll explain to you while I'm posting this picture in a second." So Natalie would post all of these things that she's sending her. Natalie sends an attachment on the 4th, and then another attachment about Children's Museum of Indianapolis. Okay, I don't know. And then Natalie says, "OMG. Our neighbor Steve started weed whacking at 7:30 in the morning, and now he's cutting the grass. People need to just take a minute and wake up before they start doing yard work." No, Natalie. How about you get up and do your yard work? It seems like Natalie is the one who had a problem with the neighbors and the dogs barking or whatever she was trying to do, not Kenzie, because it shows right here how annoying Natalie is. Well, if the neighbor Steve is watching, Steve, now you know how Natalie really feels about you weed whacking. Yeah, shut up, Natalie, says Ruth. And then Natalie sends a photo on the 7th. And then she says, "My mom sent this to us in a group chat because she's a Leo too. LOL. She was like, 'This is so me.' LOL." Kenzie says, "Aw, grandma is a Leo too. I didn't know that." Natalie says, "Yep. That's why she calls herself the queen. LOL." Kenzie sends emojis and then said, "Dom's being mean. Of course. He can't let me have fun." Oh, here we go. Here we go. Now we know where Kenzie learned to be intolerant. Yeah. She says, "He can't let me have fun." Natalie says, "Why?" Well, Natalie, did you know what she was doing with her feet? No judgment if that's what you like to do, but all I'm saying is we know what Kenzie was doing. Absolutely. Kenzie says, "He can't let me have fun." Natalie says, "Why?" Kenzie says, "I slept over at Grace's and he ignored me for hella long. Now he's being dry and unloving." Natalie says, "Ugh, I don't know. Maybe he's not awake yet. Try not to read into it too much. He just may be tired or something, or maybe he slept weird. Did you have fun? How late did you stay out? I was trying to stay up as long as I could because you know I worry." She says, "Where did you guys end up going?" Kenzie says, "2. I was up till 5 though. We went to Barley." Natalie says, "Oh, I thought you said it was lame, so you left." Kenzie said, "They knew my ID was fake. They told me. We did leave, then went to Grace's." Natalie reacts to her message and then says, "Our system is down right now, so we're literally just sitting here not doing anything. LOL." So Natalie was at work. Natalie says, "Try not to read into Dom though. I'm glad you went out and had a good time. He might not he might just not be awake yet. You know how dudes get sometimes." Kenzie said, He texted me, 'What's up?' Then ignored me. And he's being a dick now." Natalie says, "I'm surprised you slept over though. I'm glad. Heart. Wasn't weird? Did you like it?" Kenzie says, "No. That's why I'm trying to come home. I got no sleep." Natalie says, well, just because somebody's up doesn't mean they're awake, you know. Let's see how it goes. What do you mean you're trying to come home? Do you have your car with you? Kenzie says, yeah. Natalie says, oh, good. Kenzie says, I don't want to go if Dom is being a dick. Natalie says, I say just come home because he may not be fully awake yet. You know what I mean? Try not to read too much into it and see how the day plays out. But if he is grumpy, it may not be because of you. Maybe you're what he needs to not be grumpy. Kenzie says, he's being such a dick. He's saying he's going to go on D&D and he's being shady. Natalie says, just don't pick the bear then and just poke the bear. I think she meant poke. And just chill. It may not be you. Daddy hates when I prod him, when I think things are about me and they're not. It's hard to not internalize things though. So we're hearing about little Steve-O. That's nice. Sounds like Steve-O's not very friendly. Is Natalie encouraging her to stay at Dom's? Well, she said you can come home, but she needed to show him respect and stay away from Grace. Yeah. So daddy hates when I prod him. Okay, Natalie. Like, it's not about us, but then we make it about us because we don't let it go. Honey, you have every right to be there just as much as he does. All your stuff is there. Just go back so you can rest and stuff. Natalie, this is where you're completely, absolutely out of your mind. Like, absolutely. No, you do not have the right just to be there. You didn't pay. Yeah, you moved yourself in because you're crazy psychotic. You don't pay for anything there. Natalie, so this is the advice Natalie's giving her. That's his house. Yeah. She was literally going through the window. I can't believe it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's crazy. And then she says, do you want me to look at anything? Because sometimes I need people to read messages so that I can make sure I'm responding correctly, because sometimes I feel something is one way, but in reality, it's not. Like sometimes I have to check myself. Oh, so Natalie's asking, like, do you want me to read the messages that you and Dom are sending? Sometimes it helps to view the situation from a different lens. Kenzie says, he just keeps saying he's not going to give any effort to our relationships if I'm friends with prostitute, which is not okay. So this is that fight, I think, that they had about the friends. Remember, Kenzie was hanging out with some girls. Wow. She says, he just keeps saying, he's not going to give any effort to our relationship if I'm friends with prostitutes, which is not okay. Kayla, oh my God, her mom is an accomplice. Natalie knew. Holy shite. I'm shook. I don't think we had seen in the text messages that Natalie knew. Right, guys? Babelets who are here. The Babelets are the ones that have been here from the beginning. I'm a little surprised. She was way too involved in Kenzie's life. Let's see. She says, so now I'm on my way home. I love how he just does not let me have friends or have fun. Natalie responds, ugh, I'm sure he has friends that you're not particularly fond of. I'm sure there are things people do that you do not agree with. You can't You guys can't do that to each other, you know? He doesn't like who they are or what they represent, and same, but that's not you. His emotions are stemming from a place of fear of what you may either get into or what may happen to you, more importantly. I promise. He just wants what's best for you, and that's good, even though it may be coming out wrong. That's what this is about. He cares, and that's amazing. Even though it's not coming out that way or you feel like it right now, he would not be acting this way if it was with anyone else. It's just what they do in the situation she'll be put in. And I do feel the same way. That's why I was freaking out a little bit last night. You are loved. Heart, heart, heart. So Natalie knows she's hanging out with whatever friends, and she worries about it. And Dom is not happy about it. So, like, just tell her not to do it. Like, I don't necessarily, I guess to each their own how people parent. Like, but I'm just like, what the actual hell? Like, what the hell? How do you guys feel about this? Like, let me know how you feel that um I don't think this is right though, in my opinion. She says, Natalie continues and says, sometimes when you view the situation from a different viewpoint, you gain clarity and you can understand the situation a little better from somebody else's eye. Then you can have a better conversation about it. I mean, is she enabling her? Because I kind of feel like that. I don't know. And thank you, Just Jamie's Adventures. Welcome to Mellyverse. Thank you for becoming a member. I'm going to have some shorts and stuff dropping that are going to be members only. So definitely thank you for becoming a member and supporting the channel. Yeah, vacay, I know. Playing footsies with a weenie weenie. She was 17. What the hell is Natalie doing? I gave her too much credit. I don't think Natalie knew this much. I think Natalie taught her to blackmail him. I can't help it, says Green Eyed. Then Natalie sends a photo. Okay, so that was the end of that conversation. The next day, Natalie sends a photo, another photo. And then Kenzie says, I am. Okay, she responded to the attachment. Natalie sends another attachment on the 9th. And Kenzie says, oh my God, we should do that. Natalie says, that's what I was thinking. LOL, such a good idea. And then Kenzie sends an attachment. Natalie says, oh my God, that's adorable. And then Kenzie sends an attachment about ocean cleanup. Natalie says, that sounds amazing, but they're located in the Netherlands. Sad face. Kenzie says, I want to go. And then the next day, Natalie sends more photos. And then Natalie says, OMG. And Kenzie says, for real? F them. Natalie says, foxes. Sends some article and then sends another photo, another attachment. Then again, Natalie says, OMG. And Kenzie says, right? WTF. Natalie says, on the 10th, she sends emojis. Kenzie says, also, I made the $22 chocolate worth it. Natalie says, yikes, man. Kenzie said, I just finished it. LOL. Natalie likes the message and she says, aw, love it. Talk about savor the flavor. LOL. One nibble a day for as long as you can. LOL. Kenzie sends an attachment about flavoring agents. Natalie says on the 12th, just wanted to say good morning and I love you, and sends an attachment. And then she sends a post about vegan cookies and brownies and then sends a photo. And then that's on the 12th. And then June 14th, 2022, Natalie says, okay, so don't say anything to Dom. Keep this between us because I gotta tell you, LOL. One of the leaders of the white supremacist group's name is Thomas Russo. What is she trying to say? She taught her everything. I know. Yeah, wanting to review the text. Yeah, she wanted to review the text with Dom. Um, I don't know what the point of that was. Kenzie says, LMFAO, of course. Natalie reacted to that. I don't get why Natalie's dumb. Then she sends another link for Fox, something to do with Fox recycling or something. Then Kenzie sends an attachment, some other stupid attachment. Then on the 16th, Kenzie sends an attachment. Natalie says, OMG. Wow, Kenzie was really obsessed with this post was just 2 weeks after manufacturing, the 𝗕𝗏𝗏 formula. Natalie sends emojis, and then Natalie sends a video on the 17th, sends a photo as well, another photo. Kenzie said, shit, are you off? Natalie sends a photo. She says, no. Kenzie says, call off or something. I want to go. I was trying to get you this one mug, but dad wouldn't let me. Natalie says, I can't, sweetheart. When that happens, text me. Daddy is trying to help me with my mug problem. Does she mean mug like coffee mug? Natalie says, are these anything? She sends a photo. And then another photo on the 18th. And then she says, Natalie says, I think we may leave around noon to go to the graduation party. Let me know when you're awake, honey. And then sends a Zillow link, a home for sale. And then on the 21st, Natalie responds to Kenzie's story and says, OMG, heart, 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 heart. Kenzie sends an attachment on the 22nd. And then Kenzie sends an article about a shooting in Parma. Natalie responds with emojis. And then Natalie sends a photo on the 22nd. And then Natalie says, that's where it happened. Kenzie sends another article, another attachment. Natalie says, what is that? Oh, wait, let's go back. So the attachment Kenzie sends on the 23rd from Rex Orange County. Natalie says, what is that? Kenzie said, Kendall, her head. Also, weird AF how they're all friends with her. Natalie sends emojis and says, right? Kenzie says, why are you not answering? What should I say to the guy on iMessage? Question mark, question mark. Natalie says, I thought that too, but oh well. They're a mess and need to leave you alone anyway. Natalie says, I'm on hold. Kenzie said, who's a mess? WTF. Natalie responds with Kendall's mom. Kendall. Oh, Chet. Kendall is the one that they pushed, right? Her head. Yeah. This is getting good. I know. I'm going to have to end this soon too. This is so wild. It's about Kendall, and she's talking crap about Kendall's mom. Kenzie says, yeah, for real. Natalie said, if it wasn't for you, she may not even be alive today. So please find solace in that. Hopefully someday her family will find the intensity in that, because basically you were like her guardian angel in that moment. What? Haiti. Yeah, that's wild. And then Natalie says again, Kenzie posted something on her story and Natalie responded again. And then sends emojis to another one of her stories. And then Natalie sends a photo. And Natalie says, Heinen's, LOL, LOL. Kenzie said, that's how it was. Natalie says, I can imagine, LOL, LOL. Natalie says, Juul is removing their vape products from all stores in the US. Banned. Kenzie said, I know. And this is on the 24th. Kenzie sends some link about ketchup flavored popsicles. And then Kenzie sends a magnetic screen door link. Natalie says, ew, is that a ketchup popsicle? And then Kenzie sends the attachment again about the door. And then a link about an attachment about Planned Parenthood. Natalie responds with emojis. Natalie says, this is because of Trump, Mackenzie. He put those people in the Supreme Court for this reason. This is all based on religious and moral beliefs, and he handpicked those people. The last 2 members of the Supreme Court for people that he appointed. Kenzie says, literally, fuck them all. Natalie says, yep, and sends a photo. And then she sends a Planned Parenthood website. And then on the 27th, Natalie responds to Kenzie's story and says, I loved everything about this day. Heart, heart, heart. And then Kenzie sends an attachment about someone named Dottie and her conditions. Natalie says, OMG, and then sends a video. And then another video. This is on June 28th. And then Natalie responds to Kenzie's story and says, yes. Kenzie sends an attachment on the 29th. Natalie responds with, oh my gosh, it has the face of an Ewok. How cute is that thing? On the 30th, Kenzie sends an attachment about July 5th and animal shelters. Again, Natalie sends a photo. Natalie sends another attachment. Natalie responds to Kenzie's story on the 30th and says, LOL, and then responds to another one of her stories and said, OMG. Okay, Natalie, I would be this annoyed if my mom was on my stories like this. This is crazy. I know. Wow. I wonder what Kendall would have to say about all of this. Natalie was right. It only takes 5 minutes of Kenzie talk to knowing who exactly she is, right? You mean at the victim statement, right? In court. Okay, now we're getting into July. So July 1st, Kenzie sends emojis. Natalie reacts to them. Then Kenzie says, justice for Jayland Walker. Okay, so something that happened probably in Ohio. Natalie responds with emojis. And then on the 6th, Natalie sends a photo and then sends another photo. On the 9th, Kenzie sends a Balenciaga thing, probably what she wants. Natalie sends an attachment on July 10th about if anybody needs a photographer, Jeff Black is amazing. Model for hire. So here, Natalie is trying to encourage her to join some kind of like modeling thing. Wow. Hey, prison guard, listen to the prison guard. Hit that like button right now, please. Thank you, love. Good to see you. So she's sending her photographers. Like, did Natalie even vet these people out? Like, why would you be sending? I don't know. That makes me feel uncomfortable. Because remember, Kenzie's only like 17 or 18. I don't know. If my mom sent me that stuff now, like modeling or something or whatever, or photographers, it would be like whatever because we're adults. But why are you sending that to your 17-year-old daughter? And did you like vet that person out? Weird. This was close to the accident. Yeah, we're on July 10th. So then on July 11th, Natalie responds to Kenzie's story and says, I love this pic. Kenzie said, it's so cute. Natalie likes the message. Then she sends a link on the 12th. She sends an attachment. And then Natalie says, yes, I've been following this whole story, and these images are absolutely incredible. I didn't want to share them with you because I didn't know if they would scare you or not. Kenzie said, nothing scares me. And then Kenzie sends an attachment on the 13th. Natalie responds with OMG, heart, heart. Kenzie sends an attachment about Donald Trump on the 14th. And Natalie says, I saw, sad face. And then on the 15th, Natalie responds to Kenzie's story and said, hells yeah. Yeah, that's like not something my mom says, but I guess to each their own, everyone is different. You know what I mean? And so then Natalie says on the 17th, my boss's daughter is having her dance performance today if you would like to come. It looks pretty cool, and here's the information. This is super, super serious for her. And Natalie sends a photo. Kenzie says, I'm cool. I don't know her. And then she sends an attack. Well, that's rude. It's like your mom wants you to go. She's asking you. It's important to her. I can't stand Kenzie. Then on the 19th, she sends an attachment about fruit tea. Natalie says, oh, they're located right by Jennifer's. Kenzie said, that shit looks good. I hope it's organic. Natalie likes the message. And she says, are you watching American Horror Story? It's on right now, and it's about creepy dolls. Kenzie said, no. What is it on? And then she sends an attachment about Subway Surfers. Teammates. I don't know what that is. Natalie says, yes, LOL. Hulu. Natalie sends an attachment. That was on the 19th. And then on the 20th, Natalie sends an attachment and then says, your pink swimsuit. Kenzie says, aw, LOL. Natalie likes the message. And then Kenzie sends an attachment about some incest crime in Ohio, out of Ohio, I think. Or something like that. I don't know. Become a father again. Oh, no, sorry. Errol Musk. Errol Musk and Elon Musk. Okay, yeah, I don't care about that. And then Natalie says, OMG, thinking much of yourself, sir? LOL, LOL. Does it even work? Yuck. Kenzie sends an attachment on the 21st. It says, waking up in London with my Cabo thong. I don't know what that means. And then message unavailable from Kenzie. And then on the 22nd, Natalie says, Brittany, no girl, LOL. Oh man. And then Kenzie says, oh, she responded to Kenzie's story. She says, you're getting so big. My beautiful big baby girl. On the 22nd. So this is like 9 days before the crash. You're getting so big, my big, beautiful baby girl. Ew. Yeah, Super Dave. I agree. Natalie Shirilla is Mackenzie's big sister and BFF. Shake my head and sad that's not a real mother. Yeah, they are the same person. Remember Natalie and Steve filed for bankruptcy the month before the crash? Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. She acts so tough. I wonder how tough she is in jail. Good question, Pretty Fly. Okay, so let's see. July 23rd, Kenzie sends an attachment. Ugh, close links. Then she sends a message unavailable, and then Natalie sends an attachment. And then on the 24th, Kenzie says, oh my God, I need. It's so cute. Then Natalie sends another attachment about rabbits for sale. Kenzie says, OMFG. Natalie likes the message. On the 25th, Kenzie sends an attachment and then sends another attachment. Natalie likes it. Natalie sends an attachment. Then okay, so now it's jumping from the 30th. There's a message that's unavailable. And then 7:31, the day of the crash, not accident. Natalie sends a photo and she says, "If you should happen to see it when you're driving around." Kenzie said, "See what?" "Oh, okay." So that's it from the day of the accident. And then it jumps to the 4th, August 4th. So a couple days after the crash. I keep saying accident, but it wasn't an accident because it was an intentional crash. So my bad, guys. So she said Natalie sends a photo on August 4th, 2022. And then on August 12th, Natalie sends an Instagram link, I think. Yeah. And then on the 15th, Kenzie sends another one about like food, I think. And then on the 15th, she also sends one about a soft lounge set. Kenzie shares a product, the 18th and the 21st. Natalie likes a message. So this was after the crash. And that's it. Oh, so we don't get to see the ones. Oh, well, they wouldn't be in there, the ones about modeling, because those were screenshots. And that's where it ends. So the next set of thread is it starts with Faith. Ooh, that'll be so good. And we're gonna end it there. 3 hours live reading these reports. We didn't even get to the Snapchat files. So I'm gonna retitle this live, and then tomorrow I'll have to schedule 2 different ones because there's no way we can do both in one. Let's see what page we're on. Page 326 of these reports. And I think we have like 2,000 pages to go through. So I'm going to schedule lives for Kenzie tonight. So keep your eye out for Kenzie calls, Kenzie, this social media report, and then we'll go back to the Snapchat. And then we also have Gypsy Rose. We were supposed to do Gypsy Rose right now, so I might reschedule it for a little bit later tonight if you're down to watch the Gypsy Rose. 320. Yeah, I know it's another file. I know. We've been going through a lot of that stuff. Wow. Yeah, I know. So shout out to you guys. I love and appreciate all of you guys who are here and have been supporting for the last 3 hours and watching this live. That's crazy, Melly working hard. Yeah, I'm still gonna do Gypsy tonight, so I hope you guys are up for it. Oh no, pizza, you're late. We're ending this now. Yeah, I still want to do Gypsy. So if you guys are up for it, definitely I'll schedule it. Can Anton come? Yes. And shout out to Drakey for renewing membership, Alicia as well for renewing. I appreciate you. Thank you for the Cash App. And welcome new members. Taz Mom gifted a membership, and Leo Maid, welcome to the membership, and same with Jamie's Adventures. So we love you. I love you guys. Please hit the like button on the way out. I can't wait to continue reading this. These were fun. This was just as good as the messages in my book, but I'm excited to get through these. So shout out to you guys and everyone who has been supporting all the Kenzie content. And like I said, please turn on your notifications because I will be back tonight. And like I said, I always appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys. If you don't make it today, then I'll see you tomorrow, but I will definitely see you on the next one. Shout out to all the members, shout out to all the mods, and shout out to all of you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.